for you. Just got a refresh on the StreamYard.
Why are you mad, Josh? You shouldn't be mad.
No, I'm mad at myself.
Josh likes to profess how smart he is at technology.
Oh,
he's really not.
I just didn't know who started it. Did you start it? Oh, okay, I didn't realize John, because John wasn't in there, so John usually starts it. So I was like, "Oh, John's not in here."
Oh, we're blaming Josh. Josh O now.
Yes, I know, Riley, that the stream stopped. I know. I know. I saw.
Where's the stream?
There we go.
The stream is missing.
Yeah, now, everything's good now.
Perfect.
Now we're fixed.
All the way back.
Now we're back. Hello. Sorry. Should we just start over again?
Yeah, hey,
we had all this extra time, to find. Oh, wait, look what I found.
Uh-oh. Hey! No, it's not the blow through, John. No, it's not the blow through.
It is now.
It's not the blow through.
But it is now.
It's a 445.
See, I can just slide with it. I don't have to beat myself up over it because I hit the wrong button. I could just
fade it down. Just fade it. No, it's not the happy hour. It's not the happy hour. So, there we go.
We're
on the air.
Happy New Year. Yes, this is a crossover.
Yes, it is.
To celebrate the new year.
If this were a Friends episode, it would be the one where Josh hit the button too many times.
Damn it.
Be the name of the episode.
Damn it.
So did you get any feedback on your meat? Because sometimes when you tweet it out,
I always get feedback on my
that's
meat.
what I'm saying. So sometimes
it was good. People enjoyed it.
Really?
But the pictures, did you get good feedback on the pictures?
Yeah, I'm talking about the pictures.
You didn't check your mentions?
If I did, I didn't see it.
John mutes everybody.
Don't. Because if you can't take the heat and you think you've done something really well on the grill, people will rip it apart no matter how good it looks.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't tweet out a picture of that. We had steaks last night. I did not tweet out a picture of my ribeye.
Don't do it.
It looks really good in the picture.
No, it doesn't matter.
Should I do it?
But I mean,
it doesn't matter how good it looks.
This was my first brisket, and I started it, with the video and everything. So I thought, you know what, we'll make this like an ongoing theme.
Nice.
So if it turned out bad, it turned out bad.
So they took it easy on you.
Again,
muted.
If there was anything. I mean, yeah.
All right, let's go check.
Yeah, if they're idiots out there and they've been muted, and they deserved it.
All right, let's see.
But the feedback in the house was good. It was people enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's what you really.
All right, here we go. One reply. What's the secret to the smoke ring? I would say that's a positive response.
It definitely, absolutely is. Yeah.
39 likes. There you go. People seem to be a fan of it.
Nice job,
Look at you, John. Good work, man. Wow, you had a long little thread here. Look at you tweeting about your meat. That's awesome.
Well, I told you I was I wanted to see how this went.
Oh, Famous Dave's barbecue sauce. That's what people would say.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we had 3 different kinds of barbecue sauce. I did not use barbecue sauce. You don't use barbecue sauce on the brisket.
Sure, right. Yeah. Sauce it up.
But we had it there, well, except for the burn ends. That's where you add the barbecue sauce.
Comment from
it turned out fine, and I've got some leftovers for tonight.
Hell yeah. A comment from Jeffrey on the Facebook page. LMAO, John is an idiot. Wow, that's what they're saying on the Facebook page.
Even though Josh is the moron that's like,
nobody knows
buttons.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. Nobody knows what you're talking about. It just says John's an idiot.
John probably muted that, so he can't see it either.
Yeah, John is out on Jeffrey Gillett II.
First of all, if you have a second behind your name, there's a good chance you're a pretentious moron. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to be one. There's just a good chance.
Tough look for Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And
your name is Jeffrey.
Oh, is Jeffrey a bad name?
On,
just shorten it to Jeff.
Well, I mean, people have full names, Joshua.
Yeah, I know. Joshua.
Yeah, Joshua.
Joshua wouldn't have pushed the go live button more than once.
Joshua probably goes to Harvard or something like that.
Joshua has people hit the button for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he throw a middle initial in there? Jeffrey?
Gillett is his, I assume his last name.
So no middle initial.
No middle initial.
I mean,
hey, here's a question.
You should have completed it.
How do we feel? My mom is one of these people. No offense, Mom. I'm just going to throw it out there. How do we feel about people that have no? They have their maiden name, but it looks like their middle name on their Facebook page. How do we feel about that?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you're.
So I'm asking, how do we feel about it?
Oh, we're fine. We should be fine with it.
Okay.
Because
it's for the Facebook friends from the high school era, right?
Yeah,
can't
absolutely.
You still search, can't you still search the name even if it doesn't appear there?
You can do you can put it like hidden on Facebook if I remember right.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that. But no, I don't have a problem with that because it's
easy
for people who remember them from their childhood before they got married, if they changed
or remarried.
Yeah, or remarried.
You can still search it and it will still pop up, even though it is not in the displayed name on Facebook, since I am a big Facebook guy.
Oh, are you? So you're the guy that we go to for all the advice on the Facebook?
Yep, I know everything about Facebook.
Awesome.
You guys got any questions? I know where the button is too.
Nice.
For the station, you do that stuff?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, we should give you the login for Unsportsmanlike content. We have like 15,000 friends or followers on there, but I don't have a Facebook
We have a Facebook page?
Yeah.
Do we?
Unsportsmanlike conduct does?
Yeah. Remember Michael used to post pictures of women in bikinis
I thought that one got banned because he put the pictures.
No, it didn't get banned. I just deleted my Facebook. So John has access to it.
I do?
Yeah.
I know I have the access to the 1620 the zone.
Go to your Facebook page and go to Unsportsmanlike conduct. You are an administrator.
Damn.
On that. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Well, you're probably the only one.
Guess what? We're putting the naked ladies back up again.
Yeah.
We probably have some messages from people like Josh is an idiot. That's usually what the messages are. Josh is a moron.
For sure.
And then it's fun to go read the reviews, the ratings and the reviews. 1 star.
Well, if you were watching on
they
the
hate
Facebook,
Scott Frost.
You saw our video for all of 15 seconds.
Hey, that's longer than Rick Pitino. Hey, I lasted longer than Rick Pitino.
He killed it.
It's all that matters.
Dead.
Yeah.
The messages that we get on the 1620 Facebook page is all people from like Switzerland who are like radio, like signal. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're all like, could you help me out with some station information? I think it's a bot or a scam or something like that.
Those people are huge dorks. Like, hey, I was scrolling through all of the radio stations in the world and I got a few seconds of...
Could you tell me a little bit about KOZN?
No, just go to the website. Go listen to the website.
Yeah, it's amazing how people don't go to the website.
The information is...
All the information is right there.
It's readily available.
And you'll probably get more information from the website than you'll get from, sending us a letter.
Yeah.
And then we have to write back.
Sometimes I feel bad. I wonder if they're waiting for our direct response.
Oh, they are. I mean, these are lonely people. They're up there in the midst of the Scandinavian winter, and their next closest human being is probably 10, 15 miles away.
And, so they're just
and they
looking
can't
at
get
radio
to them
stations
because the polar bears are in the way. And
hey, what are you doing tonight, Bill? Well, just gonna scroll through radio stations.
I think I'm gonna turn on the old shortwave and see if I can read.
Also,
look, there's some. Oh, there sounds like there's some conservative talk.
That's all.
Which station is that in America?
Isn't it funny that our station can reach like those countries, and yet like 156th and Maple it cuts out?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great example, Josh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. Is I'm actually waiting for the letter we get from the guy in Elkhorn. He's like, hey,
I was scanning through radio
dial
stations
the other day, and I found this 15-second clip of Josh talking about the Northwestern football team. Can you please tell me more about your station?
That'd be great.
By the way, speaking of our Facebook page, so Amazing Daniel, I think this is our most recent post. He says it's super active. So this is from July 27th, 2020. It says, listener Jim says if there are cardboard fans at Nebraska games, this should be the choice. Thoughts? And it's the angry run the ball guy.
Did he ever make it into the stadium? Did we find a way to get him in?
I hope that guy's still alive. He's a little older in that picture. That picture's like a decade old now.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Oh, he's alive.
All right, we need to bring back the Facebook
he's
page.
alive.
He's alive.
He's alive.
Those guys live to like 150.
And he was sitting out on the front porch last night making sure that one little firecracker didn't get into his yard.
Right at 11 p.m., he started calling the police. He's like, fireworks are illegal in Omaha now.
Is that the cutoff here in Omaha?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Okay, I was wondering. It got
Lincoln.
really quiet last night. That was
right at 11.
It was really, really nice.
What's the Lincoln law?
Midnight. It's
but we
July
had more
3rd
days worth, right?
July 3rd through the 4th. Yeah, doesn't Omaha do more days now?
It started, I believe, on Friday night was when I
didn't
started
Mayor
noticing.
Gene give in to the fireworks lobby?
They were firing off fireworks midway through last week.
I heard some kids writing them off this morning at like 10:30. I'm like, what are you doing, you idiots? Go away.
This morning?
Yes. I drove
Why?
by them. I'm like, what are you doing? They're bottle rockets. You can't see them. Kids.
Bottle rockets have to
Morons.
be some of the dumbest fireworks out there.
I loved them as a kid, but they're so stupid.
You just hold it and it just
take
goes.
it, throw it in the air. You ever do that?
Well, and I
never did.
It's a lady finger that goes up in the air and goes pop. Oh,
it's a lady finger.
It does go pop.
Lady finger is like the catch-all for just the regular
Oh,
firecracker.
okay.
It just pop.
It's a cool noise, though,
boy.
John. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I could probably get one of them little spinny things,
Oh, yeah,
and
like
make the noise.
Yeah, those are cool.
That's
the flowers.
I could generate the same excitement by taking a lady finger, lighting it, throwing it in the air, and going zing with my little sound effect thing, and then it goes pop.
That's probably
And the
true.
kids are like, "Oh, cool!" And then you don't have that as someone who has to clean up after all the children, all the sticks
Yes.
that the bottle rocket's attached to.
Here's the
Well,
one
pain in
thing
the
that you
ass.
could never get rid of. Our neighbors were doing them last night, and it doesn't like they cleaned up. They did a really good job, but still this morning it was pretty windy last night. But still this morning there is the black cat wrapper, like the red wrapper.
Yes.
Like there's no way you can get all that because when they blow it up, it blows everywhere.
Yeah.
Those would
Yeah.
be blocks away.
Yeah.
So
Just need the wind.
the city will be covered in black cat red wrappers for the
Yeah,
next
there's like
couple
little
days.
pieces of it in my yard, and I'm like,
Yeah.
By the way, Jeffrey Gillett II has followed up.
Jeffrey.
He says, haha, I'm just kidding, John. I appreciate your old take vibes.
well, of course, someone named Jeffrey
Nick?
Gillett II.
yeah.
That very old name.
There you go.
Where is Nick? This must be Nick's burner account.
It is. Yeah. Nick's back on Facebook as Jeffrey Gillett.
Are you
II.
allowed to be on Facebook if you got the COVID?
Probably. I mean, a lot of people on Facebook have COVID, I would imagine.
You allowed to be on Facebook if you have COVID?
That'd be
Well, I mean,
amazing.
Facebook's kind of restrictive these days.
They're out on COVID havers?
They're out on a lot of
You
things.
can't be here. You have
You
COVID.
have COVID. Get off of COVID.
Maybe
Get off
in
of
the
Facebook.
metaverse.
How cool would that be if the internet also said, "Sorry, you have COVID. You can't be on here."
It'd be a lot quieter.
That would be great.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome. Like everybody, you would have to be silent while you were sick.
Let's just hope John Wilner doesn't have it because he's got to continue to report on what's
Yeah,
going on
please.
with the Pac-12.
And
We need your
Dennis
news,
Dodd.
John.
Yes.
And Denny Dodd, he doesn't have it.
Oh, Denny Dodd.
Casey Mike's mom
Twitter's
says,
wide open though. It's just
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, Twitter's.
I can show you what a lady finger is. Just bend over.
Yikes.
There you go, John. Bend over and I'll show you. Mike wants to know if he can run our Unsportsmanlike Conduct Facebook page.
Sure.
You should lend it
Take
out to
it.
somebody.
As long as he includes plenty of recipe videos. I love the recipe videos.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct recipe videos.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one
That's the one
time
good thing Facebook's good for is the recipe videos.
there was like a period of time where Jerry DiNardo would do like pasta recipes on his Twitter account. I don't know when that was. That was my favorite summer ever.
That might have been COVID summer.
It might have been, but it was just Jerry DiNardo doing pasta recipes, but they were like edited from an iPhone. So they had like the weird
Nice.
stock music and text on top of it.
Awesome.
I want to go back and find those. I loved those.
Sherry DiNardo. Yeah, his
Something tells me Michael Severe probably has all of those saved somewhere.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
believe that DiNardo has a family member that owns or used to own like a restaurant in Bloomington.
Mm.
Because I went there one time when I was working for the BTN and I got recommended like, hey, go check out that Italian place. And I just didn't have time for it. So
Ah.
yeah, somebody in his family does something with an Italian restaurant
Interesting.
or did. Yeah.
But he would like voice it over. He would like narrate the videos with the, and they would.
This pasta's as soft as Mike Riley's practices.
That's exactly
I like
how
my
you want
practice
it.
is a little more al dente.
He had the takes.
Little more Iowa.
Mhm. Bloodbath.
Bloodbaths.
Start pouring blood into it. That could be our recipe videos. Here's some Iowa blood.
I like it. See? This is good.
Yeah,
Content.
it would be content.
How many chicken nuggets do you guys think you could eat in a minute?
In a minute.
1 minute.
If I told you the world record
Yeah, what is the world record?
was 19, would you think that was high or low?
I was gonna say because I was gonna guess like 10,
Yeah, I was in that ballpark.
1 every 6 seconds.
I thought when I heard 19, I agree with you, Dan. When I heard
thought that
19,
was
I
low?
thought that was a tad low, and I could maybe take a crack.
Is
at
that what the
this.
record is?
19 in a minute.
Man, yeah. Okay, so if that's the record, then I could probably do like 6.
You know what this sounds like?
Friday.
Remember last week's
We were gonna
boxed
do-
chicken sandwich challenge? It's
Oh,
now
no.
Connor's 20 chicken nugget challenge.
20 chicken nuggets in a minute.
This is a great idea. This is a really good idea.
But why are you? What you
we're
guys?
all doing it. It's
Oh,
just
we're
your
all
name.
doing it.
You have the name. 'cause
Yeah.
you brought it up.
All right, cool, perfect.
Awesome.
Josh and I will just be going slow.
Yeah, we still got to do a whole show after that.
I know. Yeah. We have to pace ourselves.
Yeah, I
you
would
can,
just go home and take a nap. After
yeah,
that.
you'd be able to
Exactly.
take a nap or,
Something
collapse
else.
on the toilet.
yeah.
You know,
Nice.
Because
fun stuff.
Toilet
What-
collapsing.
it came up earlier because one of my favorite parts of the hot dog eating contest is when they announce them all and they tell you what other foods they've eaten
Oh,
the
yeah.
most of. And I wondered out loud this morning who was the chicken nugget leader, and then it came down to that. So we found out a lot of information.
Yeah, I heard you guys
So-
talking about that. What food do you think you could eat the most of, like in a short amount of time? And I was really racking my brain. And
Yeah, the first thing that came to my head was shrimp.
shrimp. I heard you say that, and I thought you meant at first like fried shrimp, but you
Nah,
were
just
talking. You're
shrimp
talking
cocktail.
Shrimp cocktail.
You can count the tails.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
figure you got
Throw
it's
'em in a
got to be
pile.
something that you like a little bit at least. You know, you
Love
don't want to
shrimp.
eat something that you know.
I could probably crush some Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs.
Now
that would be some volume
actually
there.
be fun.
We could do John's Tic Tac challenge
on TikTok.
On TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun to try to count too, because you know that there would be ones that get lost.
Oh, I would buy the Tic Tac things and I would pour them all in my mouth at one time.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I eat them like candy.
Oh yeah.
Did you not
The
do
orange
that?
one?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The
Oh, yeah.
orange ones were great.
Oh yeah.
I
It was
love
like
the
actual
orange
candy
ones.
for kids
yeah.
back in the day. Yeah.
I love the orange ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could hammer some Tic Tacs.
That'll be next year's Nathan's contest.
Tic
Tic
Tacs.
We're gonna forego the hot dogs this year. We're going Tic Tacs.
Mm.
Sounds good. All right. Well, now we got our plan. What are we bringing the chicken sandwich challenge back, or are we just
I
foregoing
want
it?
to.
Well,
I'd love to.
yeah, that's the plan.
It's not really
now,
a challenge.
poor
Well,
It's
Nick's
just a
gone this
Poor
week,
Nick is,
like everybody else in the office.
Yep.
I don't want to get in trouble, so,
So-
I'll just shut up
It's
now.
ghost town in here.
Yeah.
well. I mean,
Seriously, pulled in the
kinda-
parking lot today. I was like, "Whoa, look at all these open
Yeah.
spots."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought for a moment they
a little
condemned.
light back there too.
I think-
I thought for a moment they condemned the yoga club.
I think yoga was on the fritz this morning because they were outside doing yoga. They were like outside
no.
in this little patio that they have down here doing
Oh,
yoga. I don't think they
Really?
could get into their
Terrible.
thing. Yeah.
They couldn't get into yoga.
Yeah. And there was a lot of spots this
Key
morning. It
card not working.
was very questionable. There was a lady down there with a whole bunch of keys. She didn't know what to do with. But I do want to bring I would like to try the chicken sandwich.
Oh yes, we're
Next
definitely
week.
doing it. But
Let's do it next week because nobody's out next Friday. I don't think
I don't think.
because we got a lot of vacation coming up.
Yeah.
Next
put-
Friday is what? The 16th?
Oh no, you're gone, aren't you? Oh no, you are gone.
It's me.
No,
yeah.
I'm not gone on the 16th.
Or what day? Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Well, you're supposed to be, according to somebody in your life. You're supposed to be off.
No,
next
that's the
Friday.
following Monday.
She said that you're taking off Friday too.
No,
We already-
she lied.
Well,
The
we already got a
15th.
fill in, so you take next Friday off.
I don't want to take next Friday.
We got
off.
Sipple in. Get out of here. I want to work with Sipple for a day.
Whoa, I see what you are.
You're off, John.
John
Congratulations.
has a surprise
Can I-
trip. His
can I-
wife told me
can
about
I-
it in May.
Can I use one of your vacation days?
Hell no.
Well, you're making me take a day off.
Your wife
I
told
don't want to
I
take a day
emailed her
off.
today.
Maybe I want to work.
I emailed her today. I said, "Hey, so we're good to go." He knows about this. She said, "Yes, he does." She said, "Thank you." And I
Yeah, she didn't say anything about Friday.
said, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
just a
John.
Monday.
This is awesome, John.
Well, we're just going to watch the Cubs.
Well,
It's
you
not-
get to watch the
I
Cubs.
know,
You know
I
it's
know.
legal in Illinois,
I'm looking
John.
for. It is legal in Illinois.
There you
To
go.
watch the Cubs.
To watch
and
the
some other
Cubs.
stuff too.
Yes.
And some other stuff too. You driving?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm not
I
excited
did
about
that. I see.
I
I
did
did
that.
though. I see it's going down here. Many are saying
A little
like
bit.
50 cents cheaper in the next week or so.
Wait, really?
That's what they're saying.
No,
yeah,
not
I
that
swear to God.
much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're
That
going to be back
much?
around the $4 mark?
Yeah.
Did they reelect President T?
Let's go. No, that's in 2024, John.
Oh,
That's in
okay.
2024. We still got a couple years for that.
I did that.
I did that.
Yeah, so we can't do it next Friday either.
Can't do it
but
next
we,
Friday.
we
Oh
have
man.
we have some time.
This
All
is
right.
hilarious.
Well, we'll
I swear to
figure it
God,
out.
I did get somebody. I did get Sipple.
Wow.
He was excited.
I am also gone that day.
Yeah. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
got an email from our boss like, hey, just in case you guys are planning on having Ravi, he's filling in for Happer. I was like, no worries. We'll
Yeah.
get somebody else.
Well, there you go.
All right. That's booking fill-in host
Good
live
job.
on the air.
We're
Yeah, it's a
booking.
And
great
telling John he's
crossover.
off
Happy
next
New
Friday.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think this is a funny one.
Yeah, I
It
had fun.
began with the stream and
Began
idiots.
with Josh killing the stream,
And then the guy, Jeffrey Gillett,
Gillett
the
the
sec-
second,
and John having vacation days.
and then it made apparently having an extra vacation day
All
of one of
right.
Josh's that he just gave. to him.
no.
Just gave it.
So nice, Josh.
He is. Isn't he nice?
Yeah, here's the original email from your wife. And she said, like, he will probably take off Friday also. So please plan on that. Thanks.
So you really did? You didn't know about this? You didn't know you
It
were
was like a
taking off
birthday
Friday?
present, right?
Yeah. She got us tickets to the Cubs game, and then we're staying at the hotel across the street from the ballpark.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet.
And it's the Mets, so you know
Meet the
I'll
Mets.
get to watch them destroy my Cubs.
Nice.
I've never seen the Mets. No, I did see the Mets because I was at a Mets game.
Who
in-
knows? They may
New
be Metsing themselves.
Will their
in a week.
offense be any better by that game time?
I don't know.
Look at that's a preview of our interview with Mike Farron when I asked him
Wow,
about their lack
that's
of home runs.
That was a baseball knowledge nugget.
and
there
I didn't
from
even get it from
Josh.
you.
Nice job.
Stole from somebody else, but I have it nonetheless.
He's got it.
It's his now.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
That's Connor Happer, ladies and gentlemen, who thinks he can eat 20 chicken nuggets. I think we could do that this Friday. I think we should.
Yeah.
We will bring in some chicken
Yeah,
nuggets.
I guess, the chicken
We would
sandwich
just
challenge is
need
for Nick.
60
Yeah,
chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get
Perfect.
some chicken nuggets, and
Love
we will
it.
challenge Connor to see if he can get to 20. How awesome would it be if we could verify a world record because
We'll
we'd have
be
the
on
video.
the video.
Hmm.
Real quick, Jordan says, happy birthday to John. His gift is getting to drive 16 hours.
In other words, pretty much a normal work week.
Oh,
That's
not
true.
fun.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I have satellite radio to keep me company.
And your wife.
I have
And the
satellite
Connor
radio to
Happer
keep-
Show.
And the Connor Happer Show.
Well, it'll be
Sad.
on the weekend.
Sad.
It'll be on the weekend, though. That's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I can listen to the Connor Happer podcast on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
All right, so yesterday I'm at the store. We're almost out of ketchup. I don't hardly ever buy ketchup. So I go to the aisle. I come back with the store brand ketchup. It was 99 cents. And she said, no, that's no good. You can't get that stuff.
No, you don't go cheap on your ketchup.
But man, where are you going to find anything for 99 cents nowadays? I was kind of jacked about the purchase. And I didn't know what I'm looking at, because I'm not a ketchup guy. But she's like, that's not the stuff.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Heat advisory in effect again Tuesday with mostly to partly sunny skies, highs climbing into the upper 90s with heat index values well into the triple digits. Any late day storms will likely be north of the metro. A few of those could be strong to severe. Better chance for any scattered storms in the metro overnight. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
When you need a new roof, especially if you have storm damage, the last thing you want to hear from a roofing company is that it's going to be weeks or even months before they can get to it because of supply issues. This is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Supply issues are no issue at Shamrock. As one of the largest roofing companies in America, we stocked up early and we stocked up big. That means our warehouse has everything we need to do your job now. And because we stocked up before the supply crunch, we paid a lot less than anyone looking for roofing supplies now and can share those savings with you. No one in Omaha can install a better roof at a better price with a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, 402-281-1780. That's 402-281-1780. Or online at shamrockroofer.com.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. This edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone is proudly presented by Union Bank and Trust. The program starts now.
KOZN. Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
I got to adjust. It's not Monday.
It's Tuesday.
It's not Monday.
It's not Monday. It's Tuesday.
Boy, it feels like Monday.
But it's a Tuesday.
I kind of feel like saying it's Monday.
It's a 4-day work week. It's a Tuesday.
Oh.
Yep.
Like conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
Well, if you can still hear us, it means you survived the 4th of July. Congratulations.
Good.
Another one is in the books. We can wait another whole year until we have to deal with that again. Though the fireworks didn't annoy me as much this year. For those who complain that the holiday fell on a Monday.
That was actually a positive for the lack of fireworks. It definitely was.
It did. Now, of course, we're running into the next, 3-4 years where the holiday is going to be Tuesday,
Actually,
Wednesday.
no. Get this. So it's going to be Tuesday next year,
Right.
but then it's going to be a leap year, so it'll go all the way to Thursday, which is going to be solid because you and I, we're going to take Friday.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So
you
we
can
only
make an
have to deal
argument
with it one
Thursday
year.
might be the best day to have the 4th because you can take the next day off, and most bosses are probably going to be like, yeah, that's fine with me. And you're going to have a 4-day week.
And then the weekend,
4-day weekend
will be fireworks free.
Yeah, exactly. Get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Perfect. Absolutely
Get
perfect.
it out of the way.
But yeah, next year is going to definitely be the worst day for 4th of July to
Yeah.
fall on a Tuesday. Garbage.
Well, we'll worry about that when the time comes.
We got a whole year to worry about
We got a
it.
whole year to worry about that.
Mhm.
And who knows what the world will look like by that point.
Oh, that could be exciting to see, John. Very exciting to see.
Coming up on today's program, our Rooferees lineup, Michael Bruns, Mike Farron, who, by the way, did not receive my gift.
It hasn't arrived yet?
It hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, I did that.
What day I sent that?
Well, gosh, we got it last Tuesday.
Was it last Tuesday? Yeah. And I sent it last Wednesday.
Yeah.
It got put in the mail on Wednesday. Jed, what have you done with my Scafra comic?
Did you get the so you put it in the regular mail or did you take it to
Yeah, I like to support, our fine
Support
friends
local.
of the program who are mail carriers.
I was going to
I wanted
ask
to
if you
keep them
got like a
employed.
tracking number.
No.
Maybe they brought you a different Mike Farron.
Oh.
Different Mike Farron. Yeah.
And I did put the address that he gave me on there, but
Yeah.
anyway, so the dramatic, that's all right. I didn't get a chance to create an open yet. I wanted to create a nice open for Mike Farron's Reading Rainbow.
Good. So we'll do that ahead of next week.
Yeah.
Good.
Assuming it gets there.
Let's hope so in the next 2 weeks.
But
Oh.
Mike Farron will join us. And summer school begins today.
Yeah.
We're past the main summer holiday. It's time to think summer school.
Yeah, Dave Ennett, voice of Northwestern. Farron called him Mr. Cat. Mr. Cat.
Yeah, he's been the voice of Northwestern for a while.
Yeah, he says, I get to open for Mr. Cat my lucky days. Look
Yeah.
at that, Farron. Excited about our
Dave
college
Ennett.
football segment.
Yeah. I believe their games are still on Mike's old radio station, WGN 720
Nice.
in Chicago. So, yeah, we're going to go opponent by opponent.
We're going to skip one team, though.
Yeah, we decided Michigan wasn't worth it.
Ha!
Because all Josh's questions would have been, so how's Jim Harbaugh like in person? Is he really the best?
That's not true.
And
Well,
we don't even
Brandstatter?
we don't even have our buddy Brandstatter anymore.
So we'll probably be Nick Bumgarner boys this year, you think? No, we're
Hey,
skipping North Dakota. We're not skipping Michigan. We're skipping North Dakota.
That's no way to treat a neighbor.
Yeah, sorry, North Dakota.
Kind of a neighbor.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was going to say they're a
they're
couple
like the
houses
house
down.
They're on the house on the other side.
Yeah.
The next door neighbor to the next door neighbor. So that's all coming up today. And well, if anything happens in the weird, wacky, wild world of college realignment. Oh, by the way, I suppose no, he doesn't even have those. Remember when these things used to come with like big announcements, and we had different.
Oh, you're talking about like the actual recruiting one? You can
Yeah.
play the Frost Flash bump at least.
Oh yeah, I
Play
guess
that, yeah, Frost Flash.
Sure.
Yeah, do it.
Hit the video. Don't take us off the air.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Frost Flash. This is an unsportsmanlike conduct Frost Flash update. Frost Flash from the Frost Flash Sports Desk.
O'Marion Miller. According to Sam McEwen, the headline, Mickey Joseph on fire. Oh, dear God, don't set him on fire. Man, Mickey moves back to Lincoln and... Oh, you can leave the music up there, yeah. Because we got to hit the post. Mickey just got back to Lincoln. We've already...
They lit him on fire.
He caught him on fire.
That's not
It was
good.
a stupid bottle rocket, I bet.
Yeah,
the
it
most
is the 4th of
worthless
July.
firework. But Omarion Miller commits to Nebraska. This is the receiver from Louisiana.
4-star?
He is a 4-star.
He is the 100th rated player overall in the composite on 24/7 Sports. 14th best wide receiver in the entire country. Wow. Top 100 player for Nebraska. Good on them. Offers from LSU, Arkansas, among other schools.
Yeah, this is definitely a Mickey Joseph special.
Yeah.
So, again, I asked the question, the kind of player that is receptive to the Nebraska message. This, to me, is someone that seems very receptive to the Mickey Joseph message.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, without question, the best hire Scott Frost made out of the pack.
Oh, yeah, by far.
No offense, Mr. Whipple, but Mickey Joseph, he checked a lot of boxes. And in recruiting, he's been checking all kinds of boxes.
We'll have Shafe on tomorrow, obviously. And one of the things that I do want to ask him, and this is not me being a negative boy, it's just me being observant.
Yeah.
But his offer list is kind of light for the number 100 player in the entire country. So I'm curious to see what he thinks about that. Usually in these types of situations, you always think grades. Grades are the reason why you have if a player is really, really good, in ranking, but he's really, really low in terms of offers, usually you worry about grades. And so I have no idea.
How many offers did he have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9, in fact. The best offer. Okay, so he's got Nebraska and LSU. Now, you do wonder if that's committable, the LSU offer. Arkansas, Miami, Mississippi State, West Virginia, and South Carolina. Those are the Power 5 offers to G5, Louisiana Tech and Louisiana Monroe. So, again,
it's interesting.
Just a question. He'll give us an answer, hopefully.
But how much? But was the LSU offer one that
committable? Could he have committed?
Committable, but was it also a residual one from when Joseph was still at LSU?
Fair, yeah. Oh, good Lord, Mustache Adams. So instead of Calabrasca, are we going to make Louisiana or Nebrasiana a thing? Dear God, I hope not.
No.
Dear God, I hope not.
See, once upon a time, Nebraska had a good pipeline in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And just as they used to in California, too, and we didn't have to give it goofy names. No, we're leaving that in the past.
Yeah.
In the past.
Shane says, you mean head coach in waiting, Mickey Joseph? Winking emoji.
Oh, there's so many people that think that.
There are a lot of people that say that.
A lot of people who say that.
Many people on many sides.
I'm not really sure why.
Yep, indeed.
Ways to get in touch with us, 402-951-1620. You can also text that phone number, too.
Oh, I forgot to open the text.
Don't shut that feed
Stop
off.
it. 402-951-1620. Text us.
Or call us. Have a conversation. Don't be afraid.
Oh, good Lord.
J-Tech Construction's own Twitter feed, where we have
a
typical poll question. If college football continues to gravitate, I so badly wanted to put in parentheses to mediocrity, but I didn't want people to think I was being opinionated on the subject.
Nice. Even though they know what your opinion is.
Oh, they should.
Mm-hmm.
If college football continues to gravitate towards 2 mega conferences, thus squeezing out 60 to 70% of the current makeup of FBS, how do you think that will affect your interest in the game? We'll have some responses from that coming up shortly. And as we mentioned, Mike Farron, Michael Bruntz, Dave Innett, the voice of the Northwestern Wildcats as we start summer school. And what's the latest in mega conference reshuffling? We'll get you that next right here on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
That's the sound of one of my favorite customers ever. His name's Jeremy. His dad Frank called me when it was time to replace their drafty old windows and to take advantage of our limited time sale. As a dedicated Pella advisor, I make getting new windows and doors simple. And when it comes to installation, nobody does it like Pella. Our local team can typically install in just a day.
Get more with Pella. Let us personalize an offer just for you. Visit PellaOmaha.com/radio for more details.
What makes you smile? How about saving more money every month by lowering your car payment? Whether you're purchasing a new auto or want to refinance your existing auto, lock in rates as low as 3.29% APR for 60 months and make no payments for 90 days. Rates are going up. Refinance now. Apply online at metrofcu.org. Lowering your monthly car payment? It's what makes you smile. Metro Credit Union, your local advantage. Visit us online or call 800-301-8549 for details about credit costs and terms.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Are you tired of paying high meat prices? We're here to help. 20 ribeyes for $40. Huge truckload meat sale is back. 2 locations in the parking lot at the Oakview Mall and the Westroads Mall. 20 ribeyes. Yes, 20 ribeye steaks for just $40. This is an insane deal, folks. Look for the big truck and big tent. 2 locations, Oakview Mall by Dillard's and Westroads by JCPenney's. All payments accepted. Cash, debit, credit, Apple Pay, and yes, EBT. 20 ribeyes for $40. Plus, huge half-price bulk deals on Kansas City strips, New York strips, fillets, mega ribeyes, T-bones, plus chicken, seafood, and pork. 20 ribeye steaks for just $40 and crazy half-price bulk deals on premium steak, chicken, seafood, and pork. Ask how you can get free steak with the 4th of July bundle on sale now. All payments accepted. Cash, credit, debit, Apple Pay, and yes, EBT. Look for the big truck and big tent and signs that say 20 ribeyes for $40. Limited time, huge truckload meat sale. 2 locations in the parking lot at Oakview Mall by Dillard's and Westroads by JCPenney's. We'll see you there on Facebook and Instagram at Essential Food Sales.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Jed, always the Mike Riley defender.
Very on brand, very on brand.
Said, didn't Nebraska once have a coaching staff that was criticized for seemingly only recruiting wide receivers? I wonder why that isn't a criticism anymore. I don't know, Jed.
Spot the lie.
Yeah.
Man, you know, so often we talk, you and I especially, in the era of working together, we have been covering teams and this Nebraska program that has been very, the fan base has been very split. The end of the Bo Pelini era. See, the funny thing, too, is the beginning of the Bo Pelini era all the way up to the Red Out Around the World game against Texas in 2010. I'd say he had 90, 95+% approval rating. And then eventually by the end, we know how it was. Mike Riley politicized from the beginning. It was 50-50 the entire time. Scott Frost, much like Bo, super high approval rating, has only gone down. So you and I have continued to cover this era of Husker football where people are split. Jed's text, I know, or his tweet, it's obviously in jest, but it's a good reminder that if you like the guy or if you dislike the guy, you will view the same event happening from whichever lens you're looking at it through. I was thinking about that this morning because I was listening to a conversation where Donovan Raiola came up and it was kind of being couched in, yeah, but maybe it'll work out. And I was just thinking, you wonder how, somebody would talk about him if Mike Riley hired him versus Scott Frost hiring him for the same individual or the same individuals. And so, I get what Jed means because that was the criticism. All they're doing is bringing in wide receivers. All they're doing is bringing in wide receivers.
Well, this is the 4th receiver out of 12 commits so far. When you add Jaden Doss, Ben Bramer, and Barry Jackson. So, and unfortunately, this is of all the misses, this is the one position group,
dude,
probably next to defensive tackle. At least it, that 1 year where they had all 4 D tackles just.
2009. Our first year of hits, misses, and guys.
Right.
Horrible defensive line class.
But wide receiver recruiting in terms of the 4-year scale has just been a dumpster fire.
Shafe said
for
it.
Nebraska.
He was on with Happer earlier today, and he pointed out like just the lack of 4-year, wide receivers in the Scott Frost era. Who are the most successful guys? Stanley Morgan, he was a senior. J.D. Spielman, he left after a couple years.
Yep.
Wandale, he was a part-time, running back.
Yeah.
Samori Toure, he was a one and done.
Yeah.
It is a combination of guys they brought in who weren't here for very long and holdovers. But they haven't had a true, and I know transfer portal, yada, yada, yada. But
yeah,
if they had a really good receiver that they were able to just keep at receiver and not have to move him to running back, maybe things would have been different over the last years. They just have not been able to do that yet.
Of course, that doesn't mean you stop trying, and they're not going to. And remember, this is the first group now being recruited by Mickey Joseph, who, as we've said, is doing some really good things on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, and speaking of Shafe, he mentioned Barry Jackson. Happer asked him, what was your reaction to that commitment? And Shafe's was, and paraphrasing a little bit, he'll join us tomorrow. He can expand on it. Doesn't like the room that he has right now if he is accepting a commitment like that. So that's another interesting wrinkle to this upcoming season, is that he is not going to be afraid to, tell guys see you later, because we need to bring in other players at this position that are going to be better on the field and can actually contribute.
Exactly.
A lot of transfer portal dudes. We'll see.
So again, if you missed it, Omarion Miller from Louisiana, 4-star, did commit today to Nebraska. So they've got 12. 33rd is the overall rank right now in the 24/7 composite. I don't know if that is adjusted yet based on this commit.
Michael says, it's hot outside, but let's not chug the Kool-Aid. We've seen via the hits, misses, and guys exercise how star rankings for players at Nebraska are lackluster.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And this is the second 4-star in the group when you add Riley Van Poppel. And Nebraska's lack of development of their 4-star players has been arguably its biggest downfall over the last several years. It's not just a Frost thing. It's been going on for quite some time. Well, coming up, the latest in what is happening in all of the conference reshuffling. And I got a question for later in the show regarding how this affects Scott Frost. I know you and Robbie talked about it a little bit last week.
Yeah.
But also, I went and did some research, because if you're not a TV ratings guy, you should probably become friends with one, because this is where the sport is going.
So I need to find a TV ratings guy friend?
I think you do.
Damn it.
Or you need to.
Well, luckily I know you, so
And I'm a TV ratings
You'll
guy.
help me out. You hold my hand.
I'm a TV ratings
What
guy.
are TV ratings? You'll tell me more.
But I did a little counting. Oh, which can be dangerous because I got a Fremont education. But
damn, you didn't even allow us to make the joke.
Nope. I didn't want you to get in trouble with your mom again. I mean, you shamed her already on the
Hey, I just asked, is it okay if you put your maiden name on your
Mom,
Facebook page?
I don't want you putting your maiden name on there. Otherwise, people think your middle name is something weird.
They'll be like, oh, she's from Fremont. But she's not. She's not. She's from Holdridge.
But she lived in Fremont.
No, she actually didn't. Well, maybe for a spell, but not very much. They moved there in the 80s. Late 80s.
The 80s were a great decade. Great decade to be in Fremont.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fremont Parade. Remember the 80s? Oh, it's the 80s float going by again. They loved
That's probably
the
the
80s.
last time I went to a parade was in the
Oh, was
80s.
in the 80s? Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
No, I tried. I had to do a Star City parade once.
Oh, yeah.
A holiday. Oh, those are bad. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Get the day off. Now I get to go to a parade.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
get to freeze my butt off and watch bands go by and stuff. Nothing. I got nothing against band. I mean, Josh is the band aider here, but
Well, Nebraska just needs to get into straighter lines. That's all.
they had very straight lines.
Well, because it was the
Star-
80s.
No, this was the Star City holiday parade in like the 2000s.
Oh, okay.
In fact, it was the same day as the infamous 1-2 game.
Oh, 2009? Yeah. Oh, triggered.
All right, back with more in a minute. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
During 42 Degrees July 4th Extravaganza, you'll save even more with your food and hygiene donations. Drop off 3 canned food items or hygiene products and receive an extra 5% discount. 5 items at 10% discount. 6 items or more a 15% discount on top of our already low prices. So let's help our disadvantaged veterans and help make their lives a little better this 4th of July holiday. 42 Degrees, giving thanks and giving back to our veterans. Buy your mom's house.
No one in Omaha can install a better roof at a better price with a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Call today or visit us online at shamrockroofer.com.
Are you tired of paying high meat prices? We're here to help. 20 ribeyes for $40. Huge truckload meat sale is back. 2 locations in the parking lot of the Oakview Mall and the Westroads Mall. 20 ribeyes. Yes, 20 ribeye steaks for just $40. This is an insane deal, folks. Look for the big truck and big tent. 2 locations, Oakview Mall by Dillard's and Westroads by JCPenney's. All payments accepted. Cash, debit, credit, Apple Pay, and yes, EBT. 20 ribeyes for $40. Plus, huge half-price bulk deals on Kansas City strips, New York strips, fillets, mega ribeyes, T-bones, plus chicken, seafood, and pork. 20 ribeye steaks for just $40 and crazy half-price bulk deals on premium steak, chicken, seafood, and pork. Ask how you can get free steak with the 4th of July bundle on sale now. All payments accepted. Cash, credit, debit, Apple Pay, and yes, EBT. Look for the big truck and big tent and signs that say 20 ribeyes for $40. Limited time, huge truckload meat sale. 2 locations in the parking lot at Oakview Mall by Dillard's and Westroads by JCPenney's. We'll see you there on Facebook and Instagram at Essential Food Sales.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh, now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer-lasting scent.
Listen for the screwball of the day this week on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Could be someone screwy or nutty, but worthy of the screwball of the day title. Brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey, now available near you.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
I must say I was encouraged. I was heartened today when I put up the poll question, which, by the way, you can vote on right now at the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at USC1620. I'll even hit the little retweet button. So if you don't want to have to scroll back through time, you don't have to. But I wanted to know if all of the changes, the 2 mega conferences, the formation of these apparent 2 new mega conferences, thus the potentially squeezing out of 60 to 70% of the current makeup of FBS. Because if you think about it, even if we get to, the max number that has been thrown around recently has been in the 40s, right?
Yeah, the original one has always been like in the 60s, essentially just the Power 5
Just
leagues.
the Power 5 leagues.
Yeah, the latest iteration is kind of like a 40 to 48 team model.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of sport.
It's a lot of
130 plus teams.
130 plus teams, and you're cutting it down, rather dramatically. So you're talking 60 to 70% of the current makeup of FBS being squeezed out of quote unquote big boy football. How would that affect your interest in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Less interest, more interest, or won't change? I honestly thought the won't change would get the highest percentage, which it has, 57%. I thought if you would have told me the results of the other two, I would have had them flipped.
You thought more people would vote more interest?
Yes. I thought more people would vote that they would be more interested, #big brands, and less interested.
See, and I would have guessed the results that we got, but part of that is just listening and reading people over the last week and not really sensing a whole lot of excitement for this.
Right.
It's more intrigue. Like, I think it's fun to talk about because it's like, wow, what does this mean next? But I've heard very few people say, like, this is really cool, or I can't wait for this. There doesn't seem to be an excitement for it.
Which is interesting because it seems to me the last few years, and maybe they've just been couching it, but it seemed to me that there were a lot of people in the college football media who would opine about what the future of the sport would look like and would seem to write rather excitedly about super leagues and the potential for super leagues. And now all of a sudden, when the reality is actually staring them in the face, it's like, oh, whoa. I didn't want that.
My guess is because, like, I like talking about this stuff, and Thursday was very, like, reinvigorating, like coming in and knowing like that's what we get to talk about for 4 hours. Like I was excited to do it, even though I'm like, I don't like this. So those are definitely at odds with each other. But I think a lot of people like, look, palace intrigue is always fascinating, but that doesn't mean that it's good, in the end for whatever we're discussing. So that's been my read on this situation. But also I think like the march towards inevitability of it all, like, okay, Super League and Champions League, like Bill Connolly wrote about this today. Overseas, there was a lot of talk about the Super League last year. What happened over in Europe would never happen here, and that was like genuine pushback from fans, and that's why the Super League, at least for now, isn't happening. Whereas I don't really see a whole lot of college football fans seeing like, we got to stop this. And maybe it's just because we're resigned to it, or maybe it's because we don't feel like our voices even matter.
Crazy because,
but maybe our voices don't matter. In these types of situations.
Well, but think about it. The voice of the European soccer fan shouldn't have any more or less merit or value than the voice of the American college football fan in terms, because that the sports literally exist to entertain us. Mm-hmm. Without that component, the sports do not exist in the same atmosphere that they do. They would be club sports that no one would go watch. So it's fascinating that you got such violent pushback so quickly. Maybe it's because Europeans are tired of fighting wars or something. I don't know. That they just decided, wait, well, there's resistance. Stop. But you are right. There has not been a lot of pushback at all, and it makes you wonder why that is. Now, by the way, just to finish out the results of the poll, 34% of you say you'd be less interested. 8.5% say you would be more interested in college football if the mega conferences and pushing out 60 to 7% of the current makeup happened. Because the dynamics are very similar. Over there, Europe, it was the biggest teams with the biggest bankrolls, with the biggest fan bases, with the most cachet. Over here, pretty much the same thing. Yes, you have your oddball stragglers like Vandy and Northwestern who, are grandfathered in because they joined the right club 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But, no mega power right now appears to be in any jeopardy. No offense, Oregon. I'm talking historic mega power.
Well, yeah, Bill Connolly
is threatened right now with what's going to happen to us.
Yeah, Bill Connolly, I mentioned him a few minutes ago. He had a really good write-up today. Really kind of okay, so now that the dust has settled, at least on this move, what's it mean and what's next? One of the things that he wrote was, because he went and looked at the last 25 years and the SP Plus ranking, like a rolling average, the best programs of the last 25 years. Nebraska, by the way.
Which is basically a generation.
It's a generation, yeah. That's a good way to describe it. So Nebraska, they fit into that group. They were number 18 overall. How about this? So the SEC and the Big Ten now. these conferences now house 9 of the 11 best programs of the past 25 years, and 15 of the top 20 and 22 of the top 40. So going on along the lines of what you just said, there's not really a whole lot that's being left on the cutting room floor right now. You can name them pretty quickly off the top of your head. Clemson, Florida State, Miami. And then, after that, you mentioned Oregon, you mentioned Washington. It's not, and of course, Notre Dame. So it's not that long of a list right now that is kind of being pushed off to the side. And that's, I think, so maybe that is among the reasons maybe that there is a lack of pushback on this right now, is that it does seem like it is including all of the both long-term historical brands and the new money schools. And I think I'm expecting, like, whatever happens in the end game, like, I think Oregon's going to be involved. Like, so for me, like, if you just look at it from the pure power standpoint, it's like all the schools that have a case to be made, I think that they will participate. But that still doesn't, explain away why a lot of us are just like, yeah, I guess that sucks though for Iowa State. Because that's the tone that I'm seeing, is like, man, thank God we're not fans of that school, or man, thank God. I mean, how many people have you seen written or say over the last week, like, oh man, Nebraska fans should really be thanking Tom Osborne again? And it's true.
Yeah, of course it is.
It also makes me think, like, what's it like doing sports talk radio in Ames or Manhattan, Kansas today? When you're like, what is our future?
Right.
Waco, Texas.
It kind of overshadows, the excitement for the upcoming season.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking ahead going, well, man, this could be our last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
We could be left out in the cold. And that's the one major difference between this and what happened in Europe, is what happened in Europe was strictly a soccer thing.
Correct.
What's happening here, yes, all the talk is about football, but it has a major trickle-down effect.
Mm-hmm.
It has a major trickle-down effect.
Big Ten baseball now will involve USC and UCLA.
Of the biggest blue blood programs in the history of college basketball, Kansas, Duke, and North Carolina are 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, those 3 teams are not inside one of the 2 big leagues.
Correct.
And Kansas probably has the most, hazardous situation of them all, because I think eventually, if it came down to it, the Big Ten would probably throw a welcome mat out for North Carolina and Duke. That's my opinion. I'm not sure about Kansas. Maybe.
Yeah.
But think about that. The second most important college sport in terms of revenue and notoriety and popularity, and 3 of its biggest brands could be in serious jeopardy of losing some stature, all because their football programs don't pass the smell test.
And the one that you're worried about the most, Kansas, they just won the title a few months ago.
And the one that won it 2 years ago, Baylor, they're in that group.
Yeah.
And not to mention new money teams like Villanova,
Mm-hmm.
who don't even have big boy football, but have been allowed to exist. But that's the thing. We don't know how this is all going to impact everything else down the line. As we have seen with other shakeups, those other sports are basically along for the ride. And there's not a lot of consideration given to them until after the dust is settled. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. We have a basketball program, and we have a volleyball program, and we have a baseball program, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the one big difference. But it's that lack of fan uproar right now that is rather interesting. And
is it because we're not looking out for our neighbors? I don't want to make this a broader,
some of it is.
Sociological or societal discussion, but how much of it's that where, again, what has been the common refrain locally here? Whew, thank God. For now, we're on, we're in the in club.
Sure.
And so how much of it is that, like, I don't like this for, my friends over to the east or my friends to the south. And why do I like college football? Why do you like college football? I think we like it probably for a lot of the same, but also different reasons. But one of the things that I like about it is the regionality, the differences, and that on a Saturday at 2:00, I can find one of 18 games if I do my darndest.
See, and that's the thing.
But I know that I don't think that I am the normal college football fan, where I'm not the one that's like, who are the biggest brands? Because that's what I'm watching. I watch the big games, but I also watch the dumb little games,
Right. But And that's a reason why a lot of this is happening is because hashtag big brands.
Mm-hmm.
Because they figure that more Americans are going to be like, oh, well, if we just give them Ohio State, Michigan every week, then we're going to get Ohio State, Michigan numbers. I realize they're not giving them literally that game every single week. But if you're giving them the big brands every week, the perception is you're getting more good football. The reality is you're actually going to, over time, get less good football. Because remember, no matter what the makeup is,
Gotta have a winner and a
24
loser.
teams, 36 teams, 48 teams, whatever the number ends up being, you're always going to have the teams that separate themselves and are great. And then you're going to have another group, a small group of the good. Then you're going to have a pretty big, sizable group called the average. And then you're going to have your jabronis. And somewhere within all of those name brands, somebody's going to be the jabroni.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that brand value is going to diminish. Meantime, other programs that you used to watch and inject good entertainment from, like Oklahoma State or Baylor or Iowa State or Kansas State or
Washington
Arizona State. Who knows what they're going to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, I assume, will continue to field football teams, but it'll be at a level somewhere above FCS, but somewhere below Big Boy. But in reality, we're getting less football. We're going to eventually get less football that you want to watch.
Well, yeah, and along those lines, a couple tweets real fast on the JTech Constructions on Twitter feed. Shane says, I still haven't found a solid argument as to why I should be upset about mega conferences. The small conference teams will still have games, and you can still watch them if you want. Along those lines, Amazing Daniel says, I think part of the lack of excitement is that we really have no idea what's going to happen. Once it's settled, we'll have stronger views. I personally feel like the squeezing out 60 to 70% won't be the actual result. I could be wrong, though. I was that one time. And that's interesting because I think they're both viewing maybe this discussion from different viewpoints. Like to answer Shane's question, the small conference team will still have games. They will, but look.
But they won't mean anything to you.
I don't watch FCS football. I know that there are some in our audience who do, and they love it. I do not care about FCS football.
Right.
I have no ties to FCS football. I don't know enough storylines in FCS football. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to put in the work of having to
There's
follow.
only so many hours in the day.
Exactly. So I don't watch FCS football. At a certain point, what we are describing is that these leagues, yes, they will still be on TV because, look, there's still enough inventory on a Saturday afternoon and a Saturday night to watch football. It's like they're not going to go away. But if they are truly not involved in the sport, it's like, do you watch the G League? If you love the NBA and you love college basketball, do you watch the G League? Of course not. Why?
Unless you're Jacob Padilla, no.
Because it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's
the hardcore will, but everyone else won't. Once you separate the classes, you're going to gravitate to the class where your team resides, and for Nebraska, that's the upper class. And you're going to invest less time, overtime, for those other schools. And so they're basically going to wither on the vine.
And again, like, we are talking, in my opinion, to a very hardcore college football audience. People listening to this show right now are much more invested in the sport of college football than someone who listens to an FM music station right at this exact moment. Even though you're going to have Nebraska fans that are probably tuning in, and maybe even some college football fans. But like a lot of us, like, we're watching more of the games than a lot of other people are. But like, even if you're still going to watch, what's happening to those that are like, well, I mean, what does this have to do with anything anymore? I'm just going to kind of check out. And that's how they die. It's not because you and I stop watching, because I probably won't. It's because those who maybe casually check it out because their team is in the same league. Why do I watch more Big Ten football than any other conference? Well, because they're in Nebraska's league. And so I feel like I want to be up to date. I know a lot of other people that are like that. They used to watch Big 12 football. Now they watch Big Ten football. You know, USC fans probably not going to watch a whole lot of Pac-12 or whatever exists in the Pac-12 or 10.
No,
anymore,
of course they're not.
because they're going to want to watch their conference.
Yeah.
Wins.
I mean, most people, follow their team. Then after that, if there's time, B, follow the teams that they're most familiar with, whether it's teams in their own league or teams like Alabama, who are big name brands. And then after that, they might follow the rest of the sport.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that stop at A.
Yeah.
I just follow my team.
Ryan texts in 402-951-1620, says it was the individual leagues in Germany and Italy, England, Spain, and France that rejected the Super League, claiming the rest of their teams wouldn't be able to survive if the 2 or 3 best teams leave each league, as well as the fans of the smaller teams revolting. All of the fans of the non-invited members, they need to start rioting outside. Otherwise, they are screwed. That is interesting, and it makes me think of what Daniel said a few moments ago. And I think the confusion of the moment that we are in right now is probably playing a part in why there isn't more uproar. Because in a way, we're probably going to get to the end game, and we're all going to be like, whoa, it's arrived. And we're not going to have time maybe to view it in the process. Because, look, people cry wolf, right? Like you and I are saying, like, this is probably not good. A lot of people have been saying this is where the sport is moving, but we're still speaking in ideas without the true knowledge of what is to come.
Well,
and
sure, it's an evolutionary thing, and it's a process that is always changing.
Yeah,
it wasn't all that long ago. The Pac-12 could have been in prime position to be the invader.
Sure,
when the Big 12 was blowing up for the first time, and now look today. The Dennis Dodd report that the Big 12 has reached out to 6 Pac-12 schools.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 that were reported over the weekend, plus Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
That was a conference a decade ago that everybody would have said that conference is dead in 10 years.
Think about it. They lost Oklahoma and Texas, and now they're not stronger, but they're in a really good position.
They're in a better position than the Pac-12 is right now.
Yeah.
And because their contract is coming up soon, they're in a better spot than the ACC because they can go out and renegotiate.
Yeah.
And they have enough power because of that renegotiation to maybe reach out to an Oregon and to a Washington and to a Colorado and an Arizona State and a Utah and say, here's your lifeline. It's right over here. And 10 years ago, the thought of that was laughable. So this whole idea, I mean, everything has changed so much in the last decade from where realignment started.
Yeah.
You know, when we kicked off what we, I guess, could call the 21st century model of realignment.
Yeah, the Nebraska was really at the forefront of.
And everything today, you would think that a lot of these decisions are being made with the largest, biggest picture in mind. And in many cases, they still are. I mean, Trev Alberts talked about it, you know, the schools that have actual value. You know, Bill Connolly's numbers, the SP plus, you know, how the teams have done historically. There's still a lot of that too there. But there's also an element of what have you done for me lately that goes into these decisions and where you are in this particular moment in time. And that could get you in or out.
Well, look, I mean, Creighton, they had to benefit from having the Doug McDermott era right before they went into the
Absolutely,
Big Eight.
they did.
Nebraska was on the come up when they went into the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
Penn State when they got invited to the Big Ten a decade before. And look, I know there are outliers, you know, like, well, how do you explain Rutgers then? And I get that. But
well, you explain Rutgers because Rutgers was in that narrow window of they were counting
cable subscriptions.
They were counting cable subscriptions.
Yeah. Yeah, like look at TCU, look at Utah. They benefited tremendously from the moment that they lived in. Aaron texts in, says, I think one big difference between us and Europe is Europe revolves around soccer. America is football, and we aren't even talking about the most watched level of football, not to mention the 3 to 4 other sports that have a lot of followers. Europe couldn't turn to something else. Americans can. He says you won't get the revolting fans or you won't get loud enough percentage of them to make a difference like Europe. I really look, maybe I'm reaching for something here, but I think, and not to make it too political, but with COVID, remember when that first started, there was a lot of people like, hey, you're crying wolf. We heard this about the swine flu, all of these other flus that you said were going to be the worst, and they never were. And so a lot of people are like, I'm just not going to believe that this is going to be something big. And I do wonder how much of right now, and this is on both sides of the aisle, of just people are like, you guys keep telling me that this is going to be bad, but you can't tell me why it's going to be bad. And again, I think that we might wake up one day and there will be a certain amount of schools that will be in the in club and there will be some that will be out of the in club. And the ones that will be out are like, we didn't have enough time. Like, we didn't see this. Why didn't we know? And I think a lot of people are kind of trying to warn you but we're mainly couching it in the I just don't know if I like where this sport is going. Instead of saying, like, this is going to be bad because some schools won't have a seat at the table anymore, period. And maybe we need to start doing that. Do we need to sound the alarm? But that, again, that makes it sound like it's like this, insane thing, but it kind of is.
Well, it is. Honestly, I don't think you'll get as much when we start, because this is the thing that hasn't really been discussed very much. And it's the thing that kind of tripped this current iteration of mega conference expansion in the first place, and it's the college football playoff. Right now, the college football playoff is in serious flux.
Yeah.
Serious flux. Because remember, the college football playoff was an agreement among all of the conferences. Now, the Power Five had the lion's share of the power, but all of the conferences played a part in the college football playoff. You've just had the rich club poach from another rich club and basically move it closer to extinction. We're moving perhaps towards a model where the SEC is like, we're fine crowning our own champion. And the Big Ten could easily respond and say, well, we're fine crowning our own champion. Believe it or not, we could actually be closer to how champions were picked back in the 80s than we are to crowning a one true champion. It's not that far-fetched. It's not that far-fetched to think that we get to this point where you end up with the two mega conferences. And because those mega conferences don't really trust each other, that they'll crown their own champion and it's back to voting in polls. Because bowl ties are being splintered left and hither and yon. Bowl ties right now are up in the air. All of it is.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, no kidding. Like, what the hell is going to happen in the Rose Bowl? It's like crazy that the second most, I would say, important college football game of every year, behind only the national championship, is now in this spot where it probably can't exist in its current iteration because there might not be a league on the West Coast that would have good enough teams to make it. Like, that's pretty nuts.
But I think when we get to that point where there's serious consideration that there may not be a college football playoff, that's where I think you might get some more folks to pipe up and say, whoa, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, we got a question. We can get to it later. Ryan basically asked, like, is this good or bad for the college football playoff?
Right now, it's bad. Because we have no idea what it's going to look like. If you were dreaming of a 16-team playoff or anything above 4, you might want to pocket that dream for a while.
See, and I disagree. I would like to get into that, but I disagree.
You might want to pocket that for a while because we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. Oh, you might get more postseason games, but it might be SEC versus SEC postseason games or Big Ten versus Big Ten postseason games. But actual bring everybody together and fill the bracket. Right now, that is seriously up in the air. And they're not even thinking about that right now. Kevin Warren's too busy calling Notre Dame.
Please pick up. Please.
Yeah, I don't know what
answer.
The SEC being so very quiet, kind of eerie. Michael Bruntz, he's not quiet. He'll join us next here on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
Josh, Google, is crack still a thing?
Are people still doing crack? Well, according to the Department of Justice's website, and I'm not joking, it's going to sound like a joke, their crack cocaine fast facts section.
What? Sharp and Benning in the morning. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny and hot into the evening with the heat advisory and the temperatures in the 90s. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some gusty winds possible. Low temperatures in the low 70s. Not quite as hot on Wednesday, but still a high near 90. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Randby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Shingles add beauty, protection, and value to your home. You want CertainTeed shingles. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified CertainTeed shingle master. When it comes to your roof, CertainTeed Shingles and Carps have you covered. Online at carpsomaha.com.
If you're tired of trading one dead-end job for another, trade your job for a career. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers has positions open right now. As an IBEW residential electrician, you'll get training, higher pay, paid health care, retirement, and up to a $1,000 sign-on bonus. Build a better life for you and your family. Make it happen. Call 402-810-0789 right now. That's 402-810-0789, or get details at IBEW22.org.
Chilling and grilling. You got to get that brat hamburger hot dog game right. Well, Rotella's has got breads galore. With over 100 years of tradition and history, Rotella's does it better than anybody. You need different sizes and buns or types, or maybe even want to go gluten-free, Rotella's has got you covered. They consider it a privilege to come through for you to make sure all your needs are met. The quality, that's a non-negotiable. It's going to be there. Great taste, great texture. Over 100 years of family tradition. It's Rotella's Italian Breads.
Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. Host Coffee is hiring a service technician. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply today and join our team at hostcoffee.net/careers.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we designed the Ford trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 45 years straight. Made for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't designed for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2021 calendar year total sales.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh. Now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Now, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, you better ask it.
With John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
Here's a story of a man named Brunsey who covers Husker sports, boys and girls, like football and basketball, even weightlifting, like front squats and curls. Then one day, good old Brunsey called a talk show, and acting on what they thought was a hunch, John and Josh wanted to start a family. And now we get to talk to Michael Bruntz. It's Michael Bruntz. Michael Bruntz. Now we get to talk to Michael Bruntz.
That is if the phones work. Apparently the phones are being weird today. Or something. I don't know. We're trying to get in touch with Michael Bruntz.
There we go.
JD writes, John, all these moves are being made for money. No way in hell are they going back to polls. There's so much money in a playoff. They won't go backwards. That's a terrible take. Yes, all this shakes out. They will stay at 4. not saying they won't be a playoff. I'm just saying it's very much up in the air right now. And remember, the SEC said this, not me. The SEC said, yeah, we're thinking maybe we'll have our own playoff and be fine with that. That was something they said. Now, is that a possible negotiating tactic, a threat?
My
of course
opinion,
it is.
Yes. Yeah.
But it is possible. I have learned one thing through all of this expansion nonsense. The impossible is possible.
Agreed, but that would, I mean, look, you I know your pushback to what I'm about to say is going to be, it is stupid, but that would be so stupid and short-sighted.
Of course it would.
I don't think they would do that. But what I
you know, who's running college sports right now? People who don't have great foresight.
My view would be that the SEC maybe would stage their own, the Big Ten would stage their own, and then they would have their champions play AL and NL, kind of like that. That would be, in my opinion, that's way more likely than the SEC just literally playing amongst themselves and then
the SEC playing with themselves.
Exactly.
Let's bring on Michael Bruntz on that note. Hi, Bruntzy.
Bruntzy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Not bad. How was your fourth?
Not too exciting. How about your guys? Good.
Good.
Anything up?
Bruntz, here's a question that I have about the fourth. Why is this the only holiday where we will literally say, like, have a great fourth? We don't say about Christmas, like, hey, have a great 25th. Or we don't say about Valentine's Day, have a great 14th. This is the only holiday where we have Independence Day, but we also have Happy 4th of July. Why is that?
Well, are there other? Well, I mean, I guess you could say have a great 14th if you're wishing somebody a happy Valentine's
Have
Day.
a great
I
31st.
don't know. Yeah, a great first. Did people say that for the?
No, they say Happy New Year.
Well, it's because the words Independence Day and July 4th have been intertwined.
But I mean, Christmas and December 25th are pretty twined.
Yeah, but it's just never been that way.
It does roll off the tongue very well too. 4th of July.
It does. It's a great.
Have a great 4th.
It's a great title.
Yeah.
It's the perfect title.
Oh, birthday boy.
There might be some idiots out there that think, oh, we should just
move it to Friday
because we're lazy and we can't handle a day off in the middle of the week. You know, it's a beautiful term, and it's written right there in big letters. Thomas Jefferson wrote them on the document.
Here we go. I shouldn't have asked the question, Bruntz. I apologize.
Yeah, like what you did.
Yep. Again.
Well, just don't get me fired up.
Yep,
like O'Marion Miller fired up today to commit.
That was a pro segue.
Commit to Nebraska. Another Mickey Joseph winner.
Mm-hmm.
4 receivers in this group. You think there'll be any more receivers in this class?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends if you count, you know, the decision, I guess, or whenever it comes from Malachi Coleman. I mean, he's towards the top of their board. So beyond that, though, I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you kind of dig into the wide receiver room as it is now, I mean, you lose a couple. You've got a couple guys who are draft eligible that have been in college for a few years. So I think maybe you add one late, but I mean, I think right now, you know, you kind of need Malachi Coleman in the class, and beyond that, I don't know that you necessarily would at this point. I mean, maybe if you kind of get an indication later on in the season that somebody's looking at moving on, you maybe add another, but I would be surprised to see it go past 4 as it stands right now.
Hey, Bruntz, earlier when the news came down, you know, looking at his page on 24/7 Sports, a composite top 100 player in the entire country, the first thing that jumped out to me was only 9 offers total, 7 Power 5, including Nebraska, and then a couple of G5. And I theorized, usually when you have a player that is ranked this highly, you know, are grades a concern? Poking around does not seem like this is a concern, though. What are we to make of the lack of offers?
Well, he was a real early commitment to LSU. That probably didn't help the offer thing. I mean, sometimes
like Baker Steinkuhler back in the day for Nebraska.
Kinda. I mean that's. I mean, an in-state kid commits to LSU. He's not from the New Orleans area, so maybe you don't have as much traffic going through that school. I mean, he plays on the 2A level in Louisiana, so that might have been part of it too. I don't know. I mean, you sometimes see those kids too that just don't report a lot of offers. You know, that's the other part of it is if the kid doesn't tell us that he got the offer from somebody, it's tough to document. So it's probably all of that, I think. But I mean, he was committed to LSU for a long time. and certainly to Mickey Joseph. I mean, that was such a big piece of the whole puzzle. But I think that was more of what it was that this kid was, not really going to waver. And then the situation changed at LSU, and Nebraska was there to pound.
Obviously, Michael, the talk around college sports has been the movement of teams across the country. And in this case, it's USC and UCLA into the Big Ten. Naturally, you bring in California schools. Nebraska now is in a conference that will have California schools in it. Nebraska's had this interesting, over the many years, on again, off again relationship with the state of California in terms of recruiting. I would assume adding 2 teams from Los Angeles means that the relationship will be on again at some point.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, if you can kind of go into high schools and living rooms in LA and say, you're going to play a few games close to home at some point during your career, that's something you have to kind of take advantage of. It's interesting though, because the way the staff is kind of built now. I mean, Bill Bush has recruited California and San Diego in the past. I was trying to go through the other day and see who kind of makes a natural person to take over that role. And I know like Eric Chinander was out in California some in the winter, kind of making the rounds in schools. So, I think you have to kind of find somebody that fits there. And I think too, with California being reachable, you've had, guys that have come out of LA in the past that have had success in Nebraska. So I think that is something that you have to kind of take advantage of. And we'll see how well Nebraska can potentially do that in the future. I mean, the last few years, it really hasn't been much of anything to come out of California or buzz there in terms of the staff. A lot of the attention has been in Florida or Alabama, and now you've got, Texas back on the map for Nebraska. So you got to figure out a way to do it. I just don't know that it's as simple as just kind of flipping the switch. I mean, you just got to find the right fit. And right now, it seems like Nebraska, with a lot of the guys that would make sense to go out there, are kind of focusing their efforts more in the Midwest in that 500-mile radius.
Bruns, I'd say that the common refrain over the last 5 days since the news was announced that like this does put more pressure on this current season. It puts more pressure on Scott Frost. I was trying to think about maybe the best way to describe that, and I think I came up with it this morning. It is less, maybe this season is going to be perhaps less about Nebraska moving in the right direction and more like, is Nebraska starting to field a team that can compete not only with the usual suspects in the Big Ten, but also with like USC as well? Like, do you think that will be a part of the mindset that Trev Alberts and company have going into and following the 2022 year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of have to. I mean, when you kind of looked at Nebraska in years past, I mean, you kind of had the current Big Ten West as a little bit of a measuring stick of where Nebraska was kind of rising or falling in the ranks. And, you add a team like USC that is obviously a big-time player. They're going to spend money. They're going to have that flash and be kind of a premier type institution in the Big Ten. I think you do have to kind of look at the big picture and say, okay, how do we make sure that Nebraska stays in that conversation? Because you're no longer the new kid on the block. It's been a long time since you've had any kind of sustained success. And I think you run the risk of, kind of, for lack of a better word, being a little bit in Big Ten flyover country a little bit. So I think that has to be a consideration of, how do you make sure that you're more towards the front of the pack and keeping pace with these, I guess, all of a sudden new competitors in the conference. So, yeah, I mean, I think it has to. I mean, I think this season's, big on its own, but I think when you kind of start looking at, the way things are shifting in college football right now, Nebraska needs to make sure that they're kind of they can get back to the front of the conversation a little bit than where they are right now.
Less than 8 weeks away from Northwestern. We're going to be talking Northwestern football in our summer school series coming up here in the next hour. Northwestern closer to the 3-9 that they were last year, or the team that took Ohio State to the brink 2 years ago in the COVID year?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of doing some introductory research. Maybe I should listen to the summer school
You should attend
segment
summer
there.
school.
Yeah, I need to.
Something you probably heard a lot as a child. You know, Michael, you should go to summer school.
Enjoy your vacation at school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably closer to the 3-9 team. I mean, I think when you look at what they lost, I mean, a lot of their kind of best athletes hit the portal this past year. I think the offensive line should be a little bit better. I don't know that they've gotten significantly better at quarterback. I know that even, towards the end of the spring, they were still in the transfer portal, maybe trying to find a quarterback that might be a fit for them. So I don't know. I mean, I think, the season will play out more closer to the 3-9 group. The thing that you kind of worry about is everything else around that game. It's the first game, which is always fraught with a little bit of danger. I mean, I think one advantage that Northwestern has is they kind of know who they are. They know what the defense is going to look like. There's not a lot of changeover year to year, so maybe that helps you earlier in the season. But I just don't know that they have addressed enough of the issues last year. I mean, last year was just, it was a little bit shocking, not so much, the way that Nebraska just completely dismantled them in that game, but I just don't remember a Pat Fitzgerald team looking just that lost and just completely out of sorts at any time since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten.
Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Bruntsy, again, thank you much, and we will talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks.
Later, Bruntz.
Michael Bruntz, who joins us on Tuesdays here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. The question about Frost and whether or not all of this is good or puts more pressure on him, we can address a little bit later in the program. I'd like to unpack a little bit more of that, also more in the playoff. But coming up next, before Mike Farron, who would normally be our screwball of the day.
Ha!
A different screwball of the day.
It's Mike Farron again.
It's not Mike Farron again.
Oh, okay.
Or is it?
Stay
Stay tuned for the screwball of the day on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
When you need a new roof, especially if you have storm damage, the last thing you want to hear from a roofing company is that it's going to be weeks or even months before they can get to it because of supply issues. This is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Supply issues are no issue at Shamrock. As one of the largest roofing companies in America, we stocked up early and we stocked up big. That means our warehouse has everything we need to do your job now. And because we stocked up before the supply crunch, we paid a lot less than anyone looking for roofing supplies now and can share those savings with you. No one in Omaha can install a better roof at a better price with a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, 402-281-1780. That's 402-281-1780. Or online at shamrockroofer.com.
Woodhouse offers confidence as your trusted auto partner. With 18 brands and 16 convenient full-service dealerships, you can easily shop the latest models, discover a pre-owned vehicle that meets your list of must-haves, or conveniently maintain your current vehicle. And our knowledgeable and local team is ready to help, providing you the solutions to get you on the road faster, whether online at woodhouse.com or in person. Experience the difference with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Imagine it's a scorcher and your home's AC just quit. Sometimes it's beyond repair and needs to be replaced. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. Modern AC systems are more energy efficient, which is good news for your energy bill. Call 402-788-1234 or visit McCarthy's1hour.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay time. Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Damon Benning from Sharp and Benning in the Morning. When Lee Franklin Jr. moved to Omaha, he brought his love for Louisiana cooking with him. That's when he and his partner, Montoya Johnson, opened a Taste of New Orleans Creole Cafe inside of Ted and Wally's in Benson. A Taste of New Orleans is the go-to spot in the 402 for authentic Cajun and Creole cuisine. Andouille fries and sausage, beignets, po' boys, jambalaya gumbo, and so much more. A Taste of New Orleans Creole Cafe inside of Ted and Wally's in Benson. And be on the lookout for their food truck coming to a stop near you.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Screwball of the day.
Well, today's screwball of the day is a website called Fantasyholics.
The website? The whole website is the screwball?
Well, they put up a screenshot today, a graphic.
Okay.
Entitled 21st Century Saddest Downfalls. This is a ranking of the NFL players who have had the saddest downfalls in this century.
What is this in? This is NFL?
NFL.
Okay.
This is NFL players with the saddest downfalls. I mean, you think about, some of the stars that had a very promising career and then everything just went up in smoke.
Ray Caruth.
Ray actually would qualify last century.
This is just this century.
Just 21st century. But
okay.
but that's a good example.
I'm along the lines
that's a good example.
Okay.
You have such notable names as Ray Rice.
Oh, Ray Rice. He played nice.
You have Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon, definitely.
Alex Smith.
Oh, yeah, with the injury.
Yeah.
Oh, his knee getting torn to shreds. Tough.
Andrew Luck.
Less a downfall and just more of a decision.
Yeah.
It wasn't a downfall. He decided to hang up the cleats.
Well,
who was number one? Was it,
Well, I mean, when you think about who number one could, woulda, should have been
this century.
Well,
you mentioned Ray Rice, obviously controversial. Deshaun Watson, is he on this list?
Yeah, Deshaun's on the list.
Okay.
At number 11.
Ooh, a little lower. Okay.
Andrew Luck made the list. He was number 2.
Number 2.
Alex Smith was number 3. Josh Gordon was number 6.
Wow, so Deshaun Watson committed,
there's another,
perhaps did a very heinous act.
There's another name out there. There's another name. Very prominent NFL player.
RG3, he tore up his knee a few times.
He did.
He's number 7.
He did.
Ooh, Henry Ruggs. Ugh. Awkward. That's a new downfall.
But think about from the highest highs to the lowest of lows.
Highest highs, lowest
in
of
this
lows.
century.
Okay. In the NFL.
In the NFL.
Robert Kraft, he got in trouble for that one thing a couple years ago.
Well, this person was kind of close to Robert Kraft. You might remember him. His name was Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, no. And where was old AH on the list?
9.
No! He killed a guy.
He literally killed a guy.
And then he went to jail. And now he's no longer with us.
They put number 1 on the list. Saddest downfalls of the 21st century. Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley, even if you take aside the murderer and the other,
which
crime
Todd Gurley
committers,
never did.
Yeah, you take aside, his isn't even still the saddest.
His barely makes the top 14 for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was
and he played for my team.
It was a bummer, but it wasn't
but
we've seen guys have bad injuries.
Yeah,
before.
running backs who don't last very long. It happens all the time. How does Aaron, and by the way, on this graphic, it was Aaron Hernandez.
No, they didn't spell his
wrong.
name right.
Spelled Hernandez.
Hernandez.
He was 9th. Ryan Shazier, bad injury, terrible situation. RG3, Henry Ruggs.
Heck, Adam brings up Mike Vick. Where's Mike Vick? He's not on the list.
Mike Vick didn't make the list.
Maybe because he had the rise. After the downfall, he's doing some good things now.
I mean, this list should have only been one player. It should have been Aaron Hernandez, and then because
that's
no
the
one
end
else,
of the list.
because it's like everyone else is like, oh yeah, I mean,
or they could have done
you go
saddest downfalls not named Aaron Hernandez.
You go from all pro caliber tight end, playing with Tom Brady to he killed a guy.
He did indeed kill a guy, and then he went to jail. And now he's no longer with us.
So Fantasy Holics.
Congratulations.
The screwball of the day. Coming up next.
Brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey.
Oh, yes. I hope you enjoyed some screwball this weekend.
Heck yeah. Great time to enjoy it.
Yes, over the weekend. But you know what? The best part is the summer still has a long ways to go. And there's plenty of time to get yourself a little Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey.
People forget that the summer is still here. The sun's still setting late, but it's getting earlier, and I'm not a fan.
I haven't noticed that part yet.
By the end of the month, you will. You'll be like, whoa, what the hell? 8 o'clock now? 8:15?
It won't be that early.
Is it not that early at the end of July?
I don't think it gets below 8 o'clock until like September.
I believe next month is the bad month. I believe next month is the one where it's like good and then it's like, oh, it's fall.
No. I think you're thinking September. July.
I always thought August was the month where we lost the most sunlight as the year went, or as the month went along. From beginning to end.
I would have to look that up.
Okay.
I would have to look that up. But Mike Farron is going to join us next.
Baseball.
And I can go back to watching Mike Clevenger. This guy makes me so nervous.
What happened? What did he do?
I just want you to watch Padres pitcher Mike Clevenger.
Biggest downfall.
Just watch. No, it's not biggest downfall.
Okay.
But if you've ever wanted to know what it's like to play with ants in your pants.
Oh, whoa, what's going on with this guy?
Exactly.
Yeah, he's moving around.
Exactly. He fidgets.
It's like the pitcher version of patting the football.
He's just a fidgeter.
Yeah, interesting.
We're watching the Padres and the Mariners right now. No score in the third inning. Baseball. Mike Farron next, 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, we've got a stall that has the right shoulder blocked on Ames Ave at 40th. Also slow going on the northbound JFK between Childs and Chandler. If you're south on the JFK, delays from Q Street to Childs. And then if you're west on Highway 370, a little bit of a delay just before I-80. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
Thanks, Omaha. Thanks for voting Fernando's #1 for Omaha's Choice Awards for Best Mexican Restaurant and Best Margarita. Grab a friend or the whole family and get your fix. 2 locations and open 7 days a week. Fernando's, family-owned and community-served.
Email Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Allen.
And I am Rob Love.
If 6A to 6P just isn't enough sports coverage for you or the fan in your life,
the After Hours Lounge is the place for you.
After Hours is live from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Friday.
And we are here every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m.
We give you all the smoke you can handle and talk to the best in the business for all things Huskers,
Jays, Mavs, and high school sports.
So come on and open up a tab.
And stay a while
on 1620 The Zone.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Mike Farron, Sirius XM MLB Network Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, now singing the Mike Farron Open, it's Mike Stibbs.
Just make sure it sounds sexy, Stibbs.
Lord Almighty, how can you stand Arizona? Your fair skin must be burning down into your absent soul. Mike, 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 we can barely hear you. It sounds to me like you called us from inside a hole. but your phone calls lift me higher, like the ERA of Mark Pryor. Your hair looks like it's on fire. You're Mike Farron. You're just a hunk of burning love.
Literally 5 seconds
You're
before
just
the
a hunk
open
of
hit, I realized, oh yeah, remember the beginning of the show when Josh killed the original stream?
Okay.
And of course, Josh's first reaction was, damn, now they get to make fun of me again.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
I mean, the fact that
And you got to turn up.
Bring up the
on the
video
board.
computer there. The one where
There
the
we
video
go,
is.
Mike.
We have a new producer today because
Nick
is
has
out.
the vid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick.
Nope.
It's still not working. Hang on. We're still working through technical difficulties. Should be on, shouldn't it? Isn't that the one?
Testing 1, 2.
Mike
Testing.
is talking. He is talking,
talking.
but there's no sound.
Let me just double check.
not-
Test 1, 2.
Oh God, here we go. What
This
did
is-
we do?
I didn't do anything this
Testing.
time. I don't know what's going on.
What did we do?
Yeah, maybe we do need to call him.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hello?
How would that change? Or
I don't know.
is there something about the weird card thing where he has to go back and forth?
I don't know
Remember
what
the
you're talking
settings
about.
get
No,
changed?
those are set up.
Those are
normally.
set up. Those are set up
Yeah.
right.
Oh, Christina says we can hear him on YouTube. Oh, so that means we can't hear him. Well, that's not good.
Well, the good news is I didn't swear.
So great. So now Mike can have a conversation, and all of our listeners can hear him, but we can't.
Finally,
least on
folks,
the
I
radio
get to
side,
take
we
over
can't.
the radio program
Something
in a
got
manner
weirdly
that
set up
is-
on the. This is bizarre.
is more befitting of an
I don't know.
audience.
I
in
got
Omaha.
nothing. This is great that they can hear him on
now.
YouTube, but we can't hear him. This is stupid.
This is really stupid.
This is really the way that you should enjoy this
Call
program
him.
without
All
hearing
right.
either
We
of
have to
the
call him.
hosts.
Yeah, well,
We're not going to
tell
sit
you what,
around
let's
just
take-
staring at the.
Tell you
computers.
what, let's take a quick break here. Let's
Okay.
take a quick break here, and we'll figure something
All
out.
right, Mike, we'll figure it
Hang
out.
on. We'll be back in a moment. I'm
My
just
moment
going
of
to move this.
glory
Go ahead,
ends.
Dan. I'll take care of this part. You take care of that part. We are a well-honed radio program.
Yeah.
Zone, taste of our takes. Sharp and Betting in the morning.
Scott Chanley joining us here on Sharp Betting in the Morning. Joe Burrow sat down for a podcast last week. They asked him about how many times he'd been sacked last season and what kind of a toll it said. And essentially what he said is sacks are an overblown stat. As a defensive guy, when you hear a quarterback say that, your response is?
He's a liar. I don't believe him one bit.
For more, tune in every
Hello.
day to 1620 a.m. or go to 1620thezone.com.
All right. Well, that was fun. This is what happens when Nick is gone.
You know, he supposedly gave Dan the book of all the information.
He didn't give him all the right
He didn't
information.
give him all the right information.
And so instead of being able to see and hear Mike Farron, now we just get to hear Mike Farron. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mike, about all that, but apparently our computers have taken a vacation as well.
I'm not as sorry as your listeners should be, because I was ready to just take over the show and provide quality programming for a change.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to hear Josh.
Christina says, Mike says you guys smell bad. Is this true? Did you say that we stink?
I mean, I may have said you stink. I don't think it was. It may have been more in aligned to your work than it was probably to your general body odor. But then again, I didn't spend that much time with you at Ballpark Village, so I can't guarantee whether or not you smell nice.
That's true. I did see Mike at the Baseball Village. It was very nice.
Oh, you
Just one. He came over one time.
I didn't even go over once, so you beat me by one.
Well, you were a little busy.
Yeah, but normally I at least make one trip over just to say that I did, and this year I didn't even bother to do
Wow, disgusting.
Unrelated to any of this, can I tell you how excited I am that you're having my great friend and former boss Dave Ennett on today? Mr. Cat is the best.
I didn't realize he was. So was he the program director then when you were at WGN?
Sports director. Yeah, he has been for years and years. Yeah, no, I worked for Dave for 7 years. He's the best. He's one of the most wonderful human beings alive.
Yeah. Well, yep. It's our summer school session, and we're going to talk Northwestern because we're less than 8 weeks away from the joyous occasion known as the start of college football.
Well, I mean it's practically right around the corner. That's almost 2 whole months.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us. We're very excited. I did want to ask you, I had a couple college sports questions for you, Mike, with the news of last week. What do you think USC and UCLA baseball, like what does that mean for the Big Ten? And maybe the more important question is, what will being in the Big Ten mean for their baseball programs?
Well, I think for Big Ten, it's probably better for Big Ten baseball than it is for their programs. I mean, we're talking about a league that's pretty consistently been between 3 and 5 bids, and now I would think that you're probably looking at a league that's comparable on average to probably what you have with the Big 12. Somewhere between 4 and 6 annually. I think probably makes sense. I think it's a potentially huge boost for Big Ten baseball if, in fact, the member institutions decide to invest in baseball the way that some other conferences have.
Yep.
But I also think that, the other part of this, and I think this is where we have to be a little bit cautious too, is, well, are they done with expansion? I mean, if you're UCLA and you're USC and baseball is something that matters to you, which clearly it is at UCLA, and it seems like it's going to matter again at USC. I mean, I thought the Andy Stankiewicz hire was a terrific one for them. Then you're talking about what other schools are going to join that league. I mean, as the Big Ten has expanded their footprint, they have made no bones about the fact that they want to try and control major markets. So, I mean, I would think that Stanford makes a lot of sense, especially if the Pac-12 and Big 12 end up with some semblance of a merger. I know everybody's throwing around Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's been a strong baseball program too. So, I mean, I think it has a chance to impact Big Ten baseball overall, and it might be a net, equal or positive for those West Coast schools if, in fact, the conference expands and finds some, better baseball playing institutions that meet it. But, here's the other thing is that I think the Big Ten is a conference on the rise. I mean, Rob Vaughn got an extension from Maryland. I think Steve Owen at Rutgers is a terrific coach. The Tracy Smith hire at Michigan was significant. I thought the Jim Foster hire at Northwestern was unbelievable. I mean, the fact that they were able to get him away from Army, really, really impressive. So, overall, I think that there's potentially better days ahead for the Big Ten, so long as they, treat baseball like it's important. And, and I think that goes with, the Big Ten network as well. I mean, they've done a much better job than Pac-12 has of covering college baseball, but there's still room to grow there. And they certainly have, the inventory to be able to make a pretty significant impact.
Are you worried, Mike, at all about the literal future of college baseball as a sport? Because we've talked to some people around here. You're not at all, just given that football's driving the bus and the unwieldy things that are happening.
I mean, what's changed? You know what I mean? Seriously, football's always driven the bus.
No, but so, the concern of schools untethering from the university themselves, the football programs untethering from the university and splitting off from the NCAA, that's not a concern that you have at all?
I mean, I'm assuming what's going to end up happening is that most of those teams that end up going are going to take all of their sports with them outside the NCAA. And I think that there are potential paths for baseball to be, if not, fully self-sufficient, more self-sufficient. So, no, I mean, I think, listen, the groups of sports that are growing the fastest in college baseball or in college sports are, softball, volleyball, and baseball. And so I think there's going to be an audience there. I don't think this is going to drive college, baseball down. I don't think it makes sense for a member institution, even if they get clear the NCAA, to all of a sudden just say, okay, well, we're only a football school. I don't think that's going to make sense. And so football is going to continue to fund baseball and, most of all of the other programs, even if the NCAA doesn't exist. I mean, you're still going to need teams to compete against and schools to compete against. And so, yeah, I'm not sure that one reeks more of message board hysteria to me than it does of any practical application of what's going to happen when the NCAA, changes and potentially goes belly up.
Mike Farron joining us as he does on Tuesdays to the pro game now, and Max Scherzer makes his return tonight for the Mets. Meanwhile, Jacob deGrom, people forgot.
Forget about him.
He's still around.
Yep.
K'd 5 of 6 batters he faced in a minor league rehab assignment this week. Now, the Mets are still saying he's going to need a lot more time in the minors before he gets called up. But when you look at these two guys coming back, this might factor in as being the Mets' biggest quote-unquote trade deadline acquisition that they could ask for, getting two frontline guys back at the perfect time for a good stretch drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly going to help them, especially if DeGrom is healthy. Remember, DeGrom hasn't pitched in a major league game in almost a full year.
Yeah.
So, let's see how he does when he gets to the end of this rehab process, which could be sometime after the All-Star break. So, maybe 3 weeks away. So I think that's a potentially impactful addition to them. But their offense has been the issue, not their pitching. And unless they're going to go out and try and improve that, which I'm sure that they probably are going to, that's probably not going to have to be as significant an impact as adding one more bat to the lineup will be. And that's not to take away anything from Scherzer or DeGrom. It's just that they pitched fine. I mean, they got outscored in the month of June. That's a problem, but it's not because their pitching was taking on water. So, yeah, you're going to upgrade your rotation. You're going to have more depth as a result of this. Like, all of those are good and positive things, but they need offensive help. And that's, I think, what's going to if they're going to hold off Atlanta in that division, then adding some offense, specifically from the left side, I think is really what their focus will be, and what might be the separator.
Yeah, Mike, along those lines, Tim Britton from The Athletic, he had a really good lead in his story from the end of last week about the Mets offense and the lack of home runs when he said, unlike past years, the month of June did not bury the Mets in the standings, but it did plant some seeds of concern. Like, how concerning should that June offense be, you think?
I mean, it's just 1 month. I mean, the power thing is pretty real with them. I mean, I think that's been something that's impacted them the last couple of years. And so I don't think that that's necessarily something that you can write off. I mean, I do think that there is a little bit of an overreaction to what's happened to the Mets overall, just from the standpoint of the fact that they were playing so well and they had an over 500 month, but Atlanta came and ran them down. I mean, I think with Atlanta go 21-6 in June. So I don't know that Atlanta is going to play at that level the rest of the way. And I think the Mets are a pretty good team, albeit one that could use a little bit more power. So, they're down towards the bottom of the league in home runs. Their slugging percentage is kind of more middle of the pack. Their isolated power, which is a stat that I use to try and determine, how much power a team actually has, brings them right about the bottom third. So there's certainly room for improvement there. They have professional hitters. They have a much deeper collection of offensive pieces, but adding somebody who could knock the ball out of the ballpark would certainly help. And the good news is the cost of acquisition on bats tends to be significantly less at the trade deadline than it is than it is for pitchers, specifically starting pitchers and to a lesser extent closers.
Speaking of the trade deadline, which by the way is only about 4 weeks away, mid-season check on the presumptive AL Central favorites, the Chicago White Sox, now currently 4 back of the playoffs, 5.5 back in the division from the Twins. Last year, fairly trade aggressive. What do you think they have to deal with this year as they try to get themselves back into the playoffs?
They're in a stretch right now where last night was the first of 19 in a row in the division. 15 of those games are against the Twins and the Guardians, the two teams that they're chasing. So I would say that the next 3 weeks probably go a long way to determining what the White Sox do at the deadline as to how aggressively they add. Joe Kelly struggles and the injury to Garrett Crochet and the fact that Aaron Bummer isn't back anytime soon probably lead to bullpen being on the list. But, every team is going to address bullpen at the deadline. That's another team that really has suffered from a pretty significant power outage. They're going to get Eloy Jimenez back here in the next couple of days. They should get Yasmani Grandal back in the not too distant future. That's going to help, but they're 27th in the majors in homers. They're down towards the bottom of the league in slugging percentage as well. And those are real problematic numbers for a team that was supposed to be built on power. And they don't have necessarily the quality or depth of hitter that like the Mets do, where they can overcome some of that. So I don't know. I mean, I think if they're going to adding somebody that can hit would be a big benefit, especially if they can add somebody at, one of the positions that they're a little bit behind on, whether it be second base or right field. Some of it could just be A.J. Pollock needs to get hot at some point. I mean, he will. He's a pretty streaky hitter, but they really could use offense, and they could also use some depth in the bullpen. But I wouldn't say that it's a guarantee at this point that they're going to be adding. I mean, if they get to August 2nd and they're still around 500 mark, then it's going to be really tough for them to add if they're like 8th or 9th in the pecking order in the American League.
Mike, what did the news out of Oakland last week mean for the A's staying there?
It certainly was good, but it's not. I mean, it's not the be all and end all. I mean, I think I've talked to you guys. I'm skeptical of them actually moving to Vegas, because the idea of leaving a major market for the 40th largest market doesn't make a whole lot of sense, whether you get a stadium or not.
Sure.
It was this Bay Area, basically the Bay Area Commission to try and determine whether or not this portion of Howard Terminal they wanted to build on can be reallocated for a mixed-use facility. That they voted in favor of it, so that's good. But they still have to get it in front of the city council, and they still have to get a binding resolution on it. So all of these things have been progressing towards this happening, and the mayor of Oakland is on board with getting a new A's stadium. She has been really proactive in that front. The thing is that you still have some hurdles to pass, and once you get to the end of the year, there are 2 of the council members who have been in favor of this that are running for mayor, and the mayor's term limit is up. So they're kind of up against the deadline here over the next 6 months. I know that that's what the A's are hoping for, is that before the end of the regular season, that maybe they get a binding agreement with the city, and they can start getting shovels into the ground in the not too distant future. But there's still a few more hurdles for them to go.
Well, the up and down season for the Giants now is back on the downward trend. They've lost 5 in a row. I believe it's now 9 of the last 11. They continue to slide back. What can they fix over the next 4 weeks here to get them back into position to, be a playoff contender? I obviously catching the Dodgers and the Padres at this point seems like a far-fetched dream, but we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite as far-fetched to try and catch the Padres. I mean, I really like San Diego's starting pitching, but it's a 5-game difference between the two right now.
Right.
I mean, they need to be a better offensive team, and the problem is that I don't think those answers come internally. So, it tends to be a similar refrain across all of these teams, right? The offense for a number of these contenders is not quite as good as they were hoping that it would be. I mean, San Francisco really benefited from their players taking advantage of every platoon advantage they were given last year. They have not done that to the same level, and losing Buster Posey from the lineup has been a big impact on them. Their rotation is thin now with the injury to Anthony DeSclafani. I know he hadn't pitched all that well for them this year, but that was a guy that they were counting on to give them serviceable innings. And so now they're going to be without him. So their starting pitching depth is a little bit thinner. So I think they lack impact offensively, and they probably lack depth in the rotation. And those are 2 difficult spots to be in. That said, there's still a couple games over 500, even though they've dropped 5 straight. They're not out of the race yet. And if they are in the mix in what's a pretty tepid middle of the pack in the National League, I would fully expect them to be adding at the deadline.
Houston's been on a tear, 9-1 over their last 10, winners of 7 in a row. They're
7.
only 5.5 games back of the Yankees for the top overall seed in the American League. Could this be the most interesting American League race down the stretch if the Astros can keep it up, keeping pace with the Yankees, first team to 110 games wins?
I don't know if that's going to be the most interesting. I mean, I still think that the 3 wild card spots are going to be a little bit more interesting in the American League, because I do think that those 3 non-Yankee teams are a little bit flawed. I think the Astros can push them, sure. I mean, I think the Yankees are out over their skis just a little bit. Not a ton. I mean, they've been healthy in their rotation. And obviously Judge is having an otherworldly year, but Stanton has been very good. Rizzo has been very good. Gleyber Torres seems like he's bounced back. But the back half of their lineup has struggled a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to the pack some. Houston has some questions in the bottom third of their lineup too, but they have excellent starting pitching, and they're pretty deep overall on the mound. And they play really good defense. I mean, there's a lot of things to like. So I'm not sure that they're going to end up catching the Yankees. I wouldn't go so far as to call that the race that's going to be the most exciting in the American League, because really, if you're in either of those top two spots, you're at a huge advantage. Because you're not gonna have to play in that 3-game wild card series or whatever they're calling it now, division series. Who knows what they're calling it? But I think I would say that the American League wild card race with Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Cleveland, the White Sox, Seattle, that to me is going to be the more exciting race overall.
And by the way, Red Sox fans, you're welcome for that 2 games out of 3 loss to my Cubs over the weekend.
I did that?
I did that. No, they did that.
Oh, okay.
They did that. Yeah. That was enjoyable.
I watched some of that game over the weekend.
One
of the games.
Yes.
Saturday, I think.
Very enjoyable. Very
Baseball.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to take my victories where I can, the small victories.
Oh, yeah.
There aren't very many of them, are there?
No, there are not.
They're not. But at least they
What
played
happened
well when
yesterday?
I was at home, and that's all that mattered to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Mike, how about this?
So
John's
would you
wife
work
for his
yesterday?
birthday got him some Cubs tickets. So his birthday gift is a 16-hour in all totality drive to and from Chicago.
Hey, happy birthday. Your birthday was what, last week, right?
Yesterday.
51
Yesterday.
years
Yours is
young.
the 4th. Okay, I thought yours was the 1st.
Nope.
So the 4th. You have the same birthday as my dad.
Oh, your dad's July 4th? Okay. See,
Yeah.
all the cool people are born on the 4th.
And America. Don't
And
forget
America.
about America.
I did not forget about America.
Okay, good. People
Not
forget.
forget about America. No, we're going to go see the Cubs and Mets in 2 weeks.
Meet the Mets.
So I'm
Oh, good. Well, you get to see a good team.
Exactly. How awesome is that?
I know. I'm hoping Max Scherzer pitches one of the 2 games.
Oh, that'd be
I would love
fun.
to see. I haven't watched Max pitch in person since he was a Missouri Tiger.
Oh.
Wow.
Pitched against
That's a
Jabba
long
Chamberlain.
time.
Great showdown.
Holy crap.
Oh, it was a great showdown.
That's awesome.
I think it ended
Who
up.
won?
I think Missouri won 2-1.
Oh, pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So that'll be fun.
Boy, I like that you really saved excitement there very well.
What do you mean?
Oh, no.
Josh.
Dude,
Oh.
hey, Jabba Chamberlain, I remember him at Nebraska and at the Yankees. Remember that time when all the bugs were around him in the playoffs? That was funny. Come on.
How do you do this every day, John?
Because we barely talk baseball, so he doesn't have to deal with this.
I can't.
We're a
talk
football
baseball
show,
with him.
Mike. We're a
Yeah,
football
it's-
show.
Yeah, it's out of control right
I was very disappointed that Mike Riley did not win the USFL championship.
Yeah,
now. I was
we
too.
all were.
I
We
was
all
so
were.
sad. I almost boycotted the last day of the College World Series. I can't do this anymore. Mike Riley can't
Sorry, Howie.
play a championship.
Take me off the
I
broadcast.
can't do this anymore. And by the way, we're still awaiting the arrival of the Scott Frost comic to the
Yeah,
Farron
Mike,
household.
what the hell's going on?
What's that? His fault.
I
It is
did
not
that.
Yeah, it's the Postal Service.
Damn you.
Probably, my guess is that you probably misspelled something.
Yeah, John did it. So
No, I
can't blame
wrote
me.
it very clean, very
you
legible.
Just said I said it, and then as soon as I said you misspelled something, you
I
were
was like saying
"No,
I did
John
that.
did it."
It's so funny. I did that. I did that. I did that.
So hopefully next week we will
Yeah.
begin the dramatic reading of the Adventures of Scott Frost comic.
What a lead up to the
I'm
season.
very
that'll be.
excited for that.
Mike,
Yeah,
just wait,
it is
man.
going
It is
to-
so funny.
It is going to blow you away.
Especially knowing what we know now. It is so funny. Everything in this has aged terribly, including the fact that they did this to begin with.
Exactly.
That's the worst part. Oh, Lord.
I think that I mean, you can say that aged terribly, but that was probably one of those I instantly regret this decision move.
Yeah, when they started 0-6 the following fall, they were like, oopsies.
This is not good.
Well, plus, Mike,
Egg on my face.
a preview. There at one point there is a comic that shows the color analyst for Husker football, who is also like Scott Frost's best friend. And up in the booth, he's saying something like, "I'm sick and tired of watching this crap." Which is,
Oh, I saw that. I think you shared that screen cap of that.
yeah. Oh man.
That's great.
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
9-win season.
Our listeners are going to love it. It's going to be wonderful fun, hopefully starting next
Oh,
week.
no.
Yes, I know.
Are you disappointed at all that UCLA and USC's beach volleyball team isn't moving to the Big Ten with them? I figured that Nebraska was primed for like a beach volleyball team. Could you imagine playing beach volleyball in February along the Missouri River.
Nebraska's got a beach volleyball team.
Yeah, club team.
Yeah, you got it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, that's club. though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, is it competing in the NCAAs? I mean, like, wow.
I thought they were.
No, they're just a club team, aren't they?
I thought it was
No,
sanctioned.
they have a terrific volleyball program, right? Like they're
Yeah,
one
no,
of
they're
the
awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Nebraska. Yeah, it's the
volleyball.
one sport that Nebraska's actually good at is volleyball.
They're like
Are
great
you
at
guys
it.
going to go to the? I saw that the championships are going to be in Omaha, right? The national championships for volleyball right ahead of Christmas. Are you guys going to go to that?
Josh will be there, I'm sure. Yeah, I'll probably be
I got
traveling with
things to
Creighton
do.
basketball,
Probably
but
watching football.
oh yeah. Oh no, this is volleyball country out here. Both Creighton and Nebraska are very good.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mike Farron, ladies and gentlemen. Mike, thank you. Appreciate you sitting through our technical difficulties.
We figured out what it is. I was talking with young Nick. Figured out what it is.
Oh,
So-
is it another button that you pushed?
No, I didn't do it wrong. We're blaming. No, you didn't do anything wrong either, Dan. We have someone else to blame for, but and Nick should probably be back next week.
Oh,
so
is
we'll
this
be
another
fine.
Shane issue?
No,
Is this Shane's going away
There's
present
one more
to us?
producer that we haven't mentioned.
Josh?
That's the one.
Oh,
It's his
always
fault.
blame the other Josh.
Yeah, indeed.
Mike Farron, Sirius XM MLB Radio. Thanks, Mike.
Bye, Mike.
All right, guys. Bye.
There he is, Mike Farron.
There's something. I guess Josh mutes something that Nick doesn't mute. That's what it was.
See, I thought there was a setting.
Yeah, it's he mutes like the literal tab on the browser is what he does. So that's what I had no idea to even think to look at that spot though.
Why do we do these things, people?
Wow, you're
Well-
calling out Josh like that.
Well, we'll punish him tomorrow.
Whoa, are you gonna give Josh a spanking?
No.
Okay,
You can though. You want to.
we'll see.
Michael brings up an interesting point. Back to the screwball of the day. Where was Jamarcus Russell?
Did something really, really bad happen with him, or did he just suck?
Well, I mean, he goes from being number one
Okay,
pick.
good.
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
did
no,
I
no,
miss
no.
something?
No.
Yeah,
He's still not Aaron Hernandez category.
No, he is.
Aaron Hernandez gets to be number one.
Yeah.
In the biggest downfall.
By the way, someone has slid into our DMs, an unnamed person. Nebraska's indoor volleyball team does compete in beach volleyball part-time, but they don't have a separate beach program like some
God, for
schools
some reason,
do.
I thought it was sanctioned.
So I was just on their page. They played this year. They played 20 total matches. They played Wayne State, Park. Who is Park? They played Park. Very cool. They did play some ranked teams, but I assume, and this person can slide back in if they'd like, I assume that these are all just like exhibitions for these other teams.
Okay.
Their last game.
For some
last
reason, I
match was
thought
in
when they
March.
added it that it was a fully sanctioned deal.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Yeah.
Because I
Right?
guess
'Cause they just don't have any partners, right? Isn't that what it would be? They're not in a conference that has beach volleyball.
who needs a conference?
Yeah, well,
If there
seriously.
was ever a volleyball program that could go independent, it would be Nebraska volleyball.
That's true. They're pretty good.
In fact, if I'm John Cook right now, I'm like, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's just be independent. Then we can still play Stanford, and we can just pick and choose. Nebraska volleyball could be the Notre Dame of volleyball.
Oh, you know,
and have their own television contract with NBC.
we have spent so much time talking, of course, about the stuff from the football perspective, but a couple like non-football moves or things that are fun about USC and UCLA is play. I mean, look, Coliseum, Rose Bowl, obviously are going to be really cool, but the Pauley Pavilion, getting to play basketball games there is going to be sweet. UCLA basketball coming to Lincoln is going to be like just weird and very, very cool. I know that they're not as good as they used to be. Jackie Robinson Stadium, getting to play there, I think will be a pretty unique thing. So how this affects their baseball programs is
John Savage is
man
probably not. I mean, I'm sure his athletic director is saying, but look at all this money we're going to get. But the point that Mike made, it's about what the Big Ten wants to put into it. Because look at all of the other times the Big Ten has been flush with new cash. How much of that money trickled down to baseball? Overall, I'm not saying Nebraska.
You're saying
I'm talking about
average.
the conference as a whole. And remember, whenever they get to the point where they may increase the number of scholarships and coaches for baseball and other sports, that's going to likely be a conference by conference decision.
Yeah.
Is the Big Ten collectively
going to put their money where their mouth is?
Going to put more money into baseball?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to say, well, they're going to have all this extra money. Where else are they going to spend it? Well, look at, for example, Well, let's tell you what. Let's take a break. Come back. I'll explain when we continue after this on 1620 The Zone. But first, a good word from my friends at McCarthy's. 1 hour heating and air. Right now, $79 can get you peace of mind and an AC inspection to make sure your AC is going to work through the heat of the summer. That's right. You can get up to a 77-point inspection for only $79 from my friends at McCarthy's. 1 hour. They'll check everything out, make sure everything's working. If there are issues that need to be fixed, there's a breakdown fee guarantee. Plus, they will add in a safety inspection and a check of your furnace at the same time. Yeah, McCarthy's will take care of all of it for you for $79. And trust me, as someone who has had to deal with broken AC in the dead of the summer, it is not a fun experience. And remember, with McCarthy's, anytime you make an appointment, they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. For over 50 years, that's the McCarthy's 1 hour promise. Visit McCarthy's1hour.com. Get that $79 AC maintenance. Right now is the perfect time. McCarthy's1hour.com.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny and hot into the evening with the heat advisory and the temperatures in the 90s. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some gusty winds possible. Low temperatures in the low 70s. Not quite as hot on Wednesday, but still a high near 90. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, we're getting reports of a crash in the area of 36th and California Street. Reports of delays on L Street for both directions between 36th and the JFK. And then if you're north on the JFK, slow going from Childs to Chandler. If you're south on the JFK, slow going from Q Street to Childs Road. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Burton AC Plumbing, Heating, and More.
The dog days of summer are here in Burton. AC Heating, Plumbing, and More is offering a special $55 AC system check. Each system check donates 10 pounds of pet food to the Nebraska Humane Society. Give us a call or request service at justcallburton.com.
Okay, team, it's summer. Your training all comes down to this. Checklist. Emma, sunscreen? Check. Alex, shades? Yep, set. Baby Zoe, diaper bag? We're just gonna call that a yes. Are you ready for Funplex? Check. Well, out to the minivan. But we can't drive. Let's find Mom. And then go to the minivan. Yay!
It's all for fun and fun for all at Funplex, 70th and Q, dude. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Woodhouse offers confidence as your trusted auto partner. With 18 brands and 16 convenient full-service dealerships, you can easily shop the latest models, discover a pre-owned vehicle that meets your list of must-haves, or conveniently maintain your current vehicle. And our knowledgeable and local team is ready to help, providing you the solutions to get you on the road faster, whether online at woodhouse.com or in person. Experience the difference with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. This is unsportsmanlike conduct.
The way we run a program is tried and true. We know how to build programs.
On 1620 The Zone.
402-951-1620. You can also hit us up in the Equitable Bank inbox, John at 1620thezone.com or Josh at 1620thezone.com. We were talking about the impact on baseball of some of the changes and UCLA, USC moving into the Big Ten. And, you know, there is a school of thought that will say, well, this will be great for Big Ten baseball because you're bringing in a UCLA team that has won a College World Series in the last decade and has been an annual participant, usually deep into the postseason. USC, obviously, is the most championships in the history of the College World Series, though their baseball program really hasn't been, you know, at that kind of a level for over 20 years. In fact, I think their last College World Series
was it Nebraska's first?
2002 or 2001.
2001. Yeah, it was their last
College
one.
World
Yeah.
Series. So,
yeah, they had a lot of success in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they made two in the 90s, and then 2000, 2001. That's it.
Look, listen, I'm not saying that UCLA baseball is necessarily going to wither and die on the vine, but it's the overall mindset that the conference has towards the sport that is going to determine whether or not that sport is going to get better by these additions or it's going to drag those two down into the muck and the mire. Yes, there's going to be a lot of new cash coming into this league. Absolutely. No question about it. That's not a guarantee that sports that heretofore haven't been funded as well will now all of a sudden be funded more. Because what you end up finding out happens is the more money you make, the more you pour into the sports that make the money.
Yeah.
And let's say we get to a point where it's SEC versus Big Ten, and that's the new college football world. But the SEC continues to win the lion's share of championships. That is going to motivate a lot of Big Ten schools to say, man, we're making money, but we're not winning championships. So where are they going to pour that money in? They're going to pour that money right back into the football pile. And because the Big Ten has always prided itself on its basketball is going to definitely benefit. No question about that.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, budgets will probably see an increase. But the collective mindset of the league, it takes a collective league mindset to make a league great. The reason why the SEC, who before
make the league great again,
before LSU really got it going in the 90s, SEC wasn't a great baseball conference. But then they started to pour a lot into baseball. Just Google some of the ballparks in the SEC and some of the improvements that they have made. It's crazy. There is a mindset in the SEC that baseball is important to them. That mindset does not exist in the Big Ten. And without that mindset, you can say all the things you want, and you can throw a few more dollars baseball's way. That's not going to change anything. The Big Ten Conference has doubled in the last decade the amount of television revenues it's made. I believe I looked it up in 2010 or 2009, 2010. It was in the $27 million range. And a couple of years ago, it was over $54 million. It's doubled. But it's not like that has completely turned around Big Ten baseball. Because again, it's about a collective mindset within the league that, hey, we're going to try to become great at this. And let's face it, different regions of the country have different priorities. Obviously, volleyball is a pretty viable sport in the Big Ten with Nebraska and Penn State and Wisconsin and Minnesota, who have, gotten really good or have been really good. Women's basketball. So it really depends on what the conference's collective mindset is. But just because they're getting more money does not mean that baseball is instantly going to get good. It ain't going to happen. And we all thought, oh man, Nebraska's going to come into this league and they're going to run this league.
And they haven't.
How many Big Ten championships does Nebraska have in baseball? How has Nebraska baseball been the last decade?
Yeah, of up and down, inconsistent,
And yes, part of that is what you do in your own inside your own four walls.
That's been a huge problem for them
but
too, yeah.
It has not helped. It has not helped that you don't have the Texases and the Oklahomas and the Texas Techs and the Baylors pushing you like they did in the halcyon days of the Big 12 Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams don't exist. The Michigan run 3 years ago was a great story, but it is an outlier, okay? It is an outlier. So what the new money is fine, great, super. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's what are you going to do with it?
It's really a question you're asking is like, do you want to be great at it?
Yeah.
And
let's face it, sometimes you just don't have. Here's the other thing that you have in the Big Ten that doesn't exist maybe in the SEC. Pretty much all the SEC schools all have the same sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at the Big Ten. You got field hockey. You got lacrosse. You have ice hockey, men's and women's, that some programs have. Others, like Nebraska, do not.
Yeah.
And so you've got attentions diverted in a lot of different directions. Ask yourself this: Michigan or Minnesota, two programs who are usually at or near the top of the college hockey world, they're already great in those sports. They're probably going to want to reallocate some of that new money towards keeping those programs great versus trying to build up something that, is just kind of there. And remember, this is also this, when I talk about collective mindset of a conference, this was the same conference that not too very long ago threatened to just say, you know what, we should be playing in the fall. We should move.
That was in the last decade, right?
Yes. We should move baseball into the fall.
Yeah.
There were a few people within this league that were thinking that way. So there was that type of mindset at play. So great. They're going to get a lot more money. Super. But it's more than money. It's a mindset that helps create the beasts that you see in the SEC. And being able to get up close with some of these teams when they come and visit Omaha. I mean, it's just, I keep saying it's just different, but it is. When you're around these teams and you see how they operate, it's like that's big boy stuff. And you don't just do that because, we have a few extra $1 million here. No, it takes more than that.
Real quick, because we're about to preview Northwestern, but John Canzano from out in Oregon, he just put out a new story titled Pac-12 Eyeing Loose Partnership with Another Conference. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But Bill Moose makes an appearance in this story. He said, a quote from Bill Moose, "It ain't going to be an easy road for USC and UCLA. At Nebraska, we took teams into Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Let's just say there aren't going to be any 10-2 seasons." He didn't say many. He said any 10-2 seasons. Oh, Bill.
It's good to see Bill. Bill is still Bill.
Dude, Bill still has takes. That guy always has takes.
He'll always have
Bill
takes.
should get a podcast. We need to get the unfiltered Bill Moose takes.
That's a great idea.
The Bill Moose podcast?
The Bill Moose podcast with Josh Peterson.
Hey, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do the Bill Moose podcast.
Who will be brought to you by? Cup of coffee.
Piece of pie.
Piece of pie.
And a cold beer.
And a cold beer.
That sounds like that's what the podcast, that's the bit in the podcast. Every podcast, we have a cup of coffee, a piece of pie, and a cold beer together.
Coming up, Dave Enid, voice of Northwestern and Mike Farron's old boss.
Nice.
Maybe we can get him to spill the beans on what millennial Mike Farron was like.
Oh, I love this
as a young worker.
Hey, it's me, Mike Farron.
It's our summer school series starting with Northwestern.
Nice.
On 1620 The Zone.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Would you rather that your roof or siding last 5 years or 50 years? I'm Dan Thompson of Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation. Products today last much longer. Gone are the days of just tear shingles off, nail shingles on. Whether it's impact resistant, high wind tolerance, or in the case of EuroShield hail-proof rubber shingles, you can have great designer looks and durability. At Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation, we don't just give you an estimate. We educate you and give you options. So you decide, 5 or 50. Click Thompson 3rd today and start enjoying your new roof or siding.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp. When you want to go local to an event, sit in the front row? You want to go national and have the best seats? Where do you go? I go to ticketsforless.com. They always have the best selection with the best prices. You can score great deals online at ticketsforless.com and no service fees at checkout. You want to go to the College World Series. You want to go to Lincoln to a football game. You want to go to a away football game. You want to go to the Orpheum. You want to go to Arrowhead to see the Chiefs play. Ticketsforless.com has your seats. Score great deals today. It's easy, it's fast, and no service fees at checkout. Ticketsforless.com.
Now that my Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi reaches all over my home, I can finally stream my history shows in my room. And play my games in the den. And of course, blast my jams all over. Mom! Sorry! Those flutists can get pretty rowdy.
Stream throughout your home with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed in certain cases. Panoramic Wi-Fi pods sold separately may be required for extended coverage. Restrictions apply.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. 1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. 1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Seems like a fittingly sad song. Reminding me that summer school is here.
Oh.
I never had, well, I take that back. I did take a couple of summer classes in college. But it was always so depressing when you're going to school and it's summer.
Warm outside. Friends are at the pool.
Well, this is not a sad summer school.
No, it is not.
This is happy summer school. This is Big Red Summer School, where we're going to go opponent by opponent. And we're going to check in with everybody and see how their summer is going and just get a tiny bit of a preview as to what's to come.
Nice.
In the upcoming season. We are less than 8 weeks away. 8 weeks away.
Wow.
From Nebraska Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. And a man who will be there calling the game for Northwestern is Dave Ennett, the voice of the Wildcats, who joins us on the hotline this afternoon. Dave, hope you had a great summer so far, and welcome to the show.
So far, I you guys just pretty much left me depressed, realizing summer's over. I think 7 weeks from today, we leave for Dublin.
Wow.
7
weeks.
My goodness.
So you're heading over the Monday before the game.
Or the Tuesday.
Or yeah, I guess it is Tuesday. That's right.
Yeah,
so,
I know. It feels like
all right,
yeah.
you haven't started.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm excited about going, and I'm looking forward to it. But, once you get past the 4th of July, it just seems like summer's more than half over, and you're just kind of getting into a nice routine, and all of a sudden it's time for football. But I'm anxious to get the season going.
Dave, how is like the literal trip of this being viewed inside of the program? Here, it's kind of an open secret. Like, Nebraska does not wish that this game was being played in Dublin. This is a decision made by a former athletic director, and it's a made-up game because of what happened last year and COVID in Illinois. I know that they wish that the game was stateside. How does Northwestern, though, feel about the opportunity to travel overseas for the opener?
Well, I think they're excited about it because, remember, this is their home game that they gave up the game at home, which, they've only got, I think, 2 more seasons to play in the current stadium. They're going to be nomads for a couple of years while they build a new stadium. So, they won't have that many chances to play in Evanston for a while. But I think they're excited about it. I know Pat Fitzgerald's been over there a couple times already. I know Scott Frost, I think he's been over, right? To kind of, and there are a lot of site surveys going on. I've talked to people who have been over to check out the stadium. And, I think there's some excitement. Look, when you're coming off a season, it was a bad year last year, the Wildcats, 1 year after going to the Big Ten championship game. And, I think they didn't get to a bowl game, which has been rare for them in recent years. So I think they're kind of looking at this as maybe something of a make good for for last year. They get kind of the bowl experience at the front end of the season. And I think as they look at their schedule, they realize that this could potentially set them up if they can come out of Dublin with a win to have a nice year. So I think Fitz has been raved about it, about the stadium, and he's got some ancestry in Ireland that he's anxious to explore further. So I think so far it's been pretty positive. I don't know what ticket sales have been like, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are going, but I don't know if it's met expectations or exceeded expectations to this point.
Dave Ennett, the voice of the Northwestern Wildcats, joining us in our Big Red Summer School series. Northwestern's gone the transfer route at quarterback over the last few cycles. You had Hunter Johnson, who, of course, was the big 5-star they got from Clemson a couple of years ago. Peyton Ramsey, who transferred over from Indiana. And then last year, Ryan Helinski, who was expected to kind of take that job from the very beginning. And eventually he did end up with more snaps. But is there hope now that he's had a full year under his belt, not just in the program, but at the school, at the university, will help him as he tries to become the quarterback they were hoping they would get when he came over from Carolina?
Yeah, I think absolutely. He came in the middle of spring ball last year, and so he was kind of playing catch up, and then he ended up not starting the season. Hunter Johnson did, and look, that didn't go very well, and Hunter Johnson's back at Clemson now, where his college career began. I think Helinski's going to be in a battle for the starting job, though, with a young guy by the name of Brendan Sullivan out of the state of Michigan, whose dad actually played. I think he was an offensive lineman for the Wolverines, and he had a really strong spring. And there's some other guys who'll probably be in the mix. There's nothing that I think a lot of coaches like, and certainly Pat Fitzgerald likes more than a spirited quarterback competition in fall camp. And so I think he's kind of setting that up now. He's not tipping his hand at all as to who the starter will be. Certainly Helinski brings some experience to the position, having taken some lumps last year, but getting that playing time and comes with a lot of credentials. But they really like Sullivan too. So I can't tell you right now who it's going to be starting on August 27th in Dublin against the Cornhuskers.
Looking at the running back position, Dave, and I guess maybe the rushing offense, it seems like with the return of Cam Porter from that injury, Evan Hull had a really good season, had a really good year in 2021. They have some experience there. I wonder how much of the run game, in your opinion, will succeed or fail based on that group, the offensive line in front of them, and the quarterback play that you just got done discussing.
Well, I think certainly got to have some balance, and they didn't really have that last year. But I think this running back group, and they've had some pretty good ones over the years, going back to, well, you can go back through, probably preceding you guys like Mike Adamley,
yep,
going back a long way, but Darnell Autry and Damian Anderson and Jason Wright. And anyway, they've got some guys now, I think, with Cam Porter coming back, who was so impressive in 2020 and then got hurt in preseason last year and was lost for the season. I think he's certainly the guy who could be a bell cow type back for them. But look, you can't underestimate or understate what Evan Hull's been able to accomplish. And last year with Porter injured, he really took on the bulk of that load. They've got Andrew Clare, who was a transfer, came in last year. He's back this year. They have a guy who played last year, started the season opener as a true freshman last year, and Anthony Tyus, who gives him a little bit of size there too. He's a bigger back. So I think they're really very deep at running back. And I also think that the offensive line is key because they have an offensive line which has a ton of experience. They've got returning starters at both the tackles, including Peter Skoronsky, the left tackle, who a lot of people have rated as the top offensive lineman in the country, and let alone the Big Ten. And so, I think, but they got to have some balance. They got to get some production from their pass game. And I think that's going to be key. Whoever ends up being the starting quarterback, look, they've got to be better offensively than they were last year. They know that. I think it'd be kind of hard not to be on a consistent basis. And I think they feel pretty good about where they are.
Dave Ennett, the voice of the Northwestern Wildcats in our Big Red Summer School series, as we preview a little Northwestern football. Last year, you had the combination of a young defense plus a new defensive coordinator that made for some serious growing pains. What's a reasonable expectation for the Wildcats this year, now that there's at least a little more experience and, similar to Helinski, another year under the belt where everyone is kind of used to each other?
Well, I think that's where they figure to be, I think, most improved this year because, look, last year was really the anomaly for them, both from a one-loss standpoint and from a defensive standpoint because, in Pat Fitzgerald's early years, they were a better offensive team than they were defensively. And that over the years, they kind of developed a defense and a defensive mindset that kind of took after their coach. That's certainly the kind of defense, physical defense, taking the ball away, the kind of thing he would want. And they lost a lot of guys. They lost their linebacking core from the previous number of years with guys like Patty Fisher and Bryce Gallagher moving on, Blake Gallagher rather, and they had Chris Bergen, who was the nation's leading tackler last year. Now he departs, but I think they feel like they've built enough depth and gotten enough experience last year with the guys who were there. They're going to be better. I think their back half is really good, despite the decision by Brandon Joseph to go to Notre Dame as a transfer. They have a lot of talent returning in the secondary, and I think up front they've used the transfer portal a little bit to try to build some depth in their defensive front, and they have out a Tamalata Barre back, who's one of the better edge rushers in the conference. So I think, I think it was a growth. It was a time of growth last year. I think adjusting. I think it had less to do, now that I've investigated a little more during the offseason, with the defensive coordinator. There's always a transition, right? But I think it had more to do with just a lack of experience. And I think, now they've got that experience, they feel like things should be better and closer to the kind of football they're used to playing.
Dave, before we let you go, you mentioned it at the outset of the conversation. This is a program that's gotten really used to going to a lot of bowl games lately. From 2008 to 2018, they only missed 2 bowl games in that stretch, and yet in the last 3 years, they've missed 2, but they've also had that, of course, sandwiched around a couple of division championship wins, their first ever being in 2018, and then they won it again in 2020. What are you to make of, I guess, the up and down nature for a program that from 08 to 18 was very, very consistent?
You know what? I think it's been inconsistent quarterback play, and I think that, the 1 year, and you guys mentioned Peyton Ramsey, when he came from Indiana, only played 1 year for them, but look at the year they had when they had terrific consistency from Ramsey at the quarterback position, and they ended up winning the Big Ten West and giving Ohio State a run in the Big Ten championship game, and then handling Auburn in the Citrus Bowl. I mean, I think it sounds, I don't mean to sound like I'm oversimplifying it, but I think if they can get one of these guys not have to kind of play musical chairs at quarterback like they've had to do in 2019 and 2021, then, I think they've got the talent there to, maybe they won't win the Big Ten West this year. A lot of it has to do with injuries and timing and luck and schedule and all that stuff, but I certainly don't think they're going to be a 3-9 football team again.
Dave, before we had you on, we had our regular Tuesday baseball segment with now not so young man who once was under your employment by the name of Mike Farron. Do you have any incriminating stories about young Mike in his early radio days in Chicago that you can share with us and we can use against him next time he's on?
Did you say Mike Perrin?
Mike
Perrin? Can you spell that?
Farron, Ferrin.
No, Mike, incriminating? Absolutely.
Good.
Stuff we could share on the air? I don't think so. No, Mike's a good man. I'm very proud of all the success he's had, and he's a guy who's passionate about baseball. And let me give that some thought, and I'll get back to you guys.
All right.
With some incriminating evidence. How about that?
Or at least a good picture. I'd like to see young millennial Mike Farron.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that I can produce. I guarantee it.
Tooling around the studios there. Michigan Ave. The studios are still on Michigan Ave, right?
No, we moved a few years ago. Just to the other side of the river. But we're still right downtown.
Yeah.
I'm sure occasionally we have to go pick Mike up off a street corner.
I'd believe that.
Uh-huh.
I would believe that. Dave Ennett, the voice of Northwestern. Dave, we appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Good to be with you guys.
You bet. And there it is, the first session of Big Red Summer School.
Awesome.
Coming up tomorrow, the Georgia Southern guy, as it says on our board,
at Big
who
Georgia
apparently
Southern
is
guy.
extremely excited.
Yeah, he's like a Nebraska fan, or was a Nebraska fan.
Yeah.
But
we'll find out more about Georgia Southern tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And because Josh is the head of curriculum for the summer school, he decided not to include North Dakota. So send your hate mail.
No, don't
send
blame
your hate
me.
mail to Josh. When North Dakota surprises the world,
oh good Lord, don't
and
you
wins
do this.
in Lincoln,
Don't
it
you
will
do
because
this.
we didn't get a summer school preview of North Dakota.
If North Dakota beats Nebraska, can their coach take a picture and say, I did that? This needs to become, here's what I want. Look, I know everyone's mad. Republicans hate Biden. Democrats hate Biden. Everybody's mad right now about everything. I get that. But I did that needs to become a meme this football season. If a program gets another coach fired, I did that. The first big upset in college football, appointed scoreboard. I did that. I think we need to make I did that the new slogan of anything fun in college football.
I'm good with that.
I did that. You can put the stickers up everywhere.
We're going to do that happy hour next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Heads up, we've got a crash on southbound 144th at Industrial Road. A crash with injuries on southbound 33rd at L Street is also causing delays. An earlier wreck on West Center Road at Paddock Road has crews cleaning it up through there, causing some delays. If you're north on the JFK, expect delays between Childs Road and Chandler. If you're south on the JFK, expect delays between Q Street and Childs Road. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
Thanks, Omaha. Thanks for voting Fernando's #1 for Omaha's Choice Awards for Best Mexican Restaurant and Best Margarita. Grab a friend or the whole family and get your fix. 2 locations and open 7 days a week. Fernando's, family-owned and community served.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
It'd be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
It would be nice to have a pro
throw.
from your mom.
A happy hour is on the air.
hear this music? And now here's Mr. Football himself, Lyle Bremser. Those were the good old days when we played in the Big 8. We didn't play those California hippies.
What do you think Bo Lyle would think about the Big Two? They played them, though. They played them in the Rose Bowl. They didn't play the Rose Bowl. They played them sometimes, though. Nebraska played UCLA, remember?
Yeah, but it was a non-conference.
That's true. It's going to be a conference game.
He'd say, man, woman, and child, this doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what Mr. Football would say about all this.
Yeah.
He would not recognize college football, I can tell you that much.
I mean, I don't think anybody would.
First thing he'd do is, so how are the Huskers doing?
That's true. That would surprise him the most.
3-9. Who's coaching the team? Larry Frost, kid. Man, woman, and child, I thought he'd be better than that. I don't know what he would say. Not sure.
You do a pretty good Lyle.
It's not that good.
Maybe that could
I've
be a
heard.
new bit this
I know other
season.
people.
Lyle
that do 'em
Bremser
much.
calling games for today. Just giving you an idea for the fall. Giving you an idea.
You were talking about what was it? Well, you mentioned
the Bill Moose?
No, you mentioned President B.
Oh,
earlier.
yeah, I did that.
Money Chris.
I did that.
Money Chris from Louisiana. Apparently, the price of gas took a big nosedive today
This is awesome.
at the pipeline. You took a screenshot of the market report. It was down almost 38 cents.
Whoa!
And I did notice that a couple of the gas stations as I pass on the way in were in the 430s. One thing you'll notice, though, about gas prices is they go up really fast. They come down really slow.
It takes forever to go back down.
Yeah.
Seriously, you'll be driving. It's like, wait, it's a $2 more? And then it takes a long time.
But at the peak of all this nonsense, I thought it was all this. It was a supply issue, and then the demand was too high, and this.
No, wasn't it? Wasn't that?
Yeah, that's the reason why it went up.
I thought
so
it
much.
was because. Look, I'm gonna feign ignorance here, but I thought that it was because of the Russia-Ukraine stuff.
Well, that's used as an excuse, but it's not as big an impact as. I mean, it's not the
Well,
reason.
it seems like there's plenty of it to go around.
Apparently so.
Remember a few years ago, like every time that gas goes way up, and before this year, the time that I remember it the most was in 2008, because I think I told the story in the air. So we had a family reunion that year in Colorado, and I filled up my car before we left because it was $3.89, and I still remember this because I was like, I'm going to fill up now because when I come back, it's going to be above $4, and I don't want to have to fill it up when it's above $4 a gallon. And it never did actually hit $4. By the time we came back, it was going back down. And I remember the conversation back in 2008 was, people aren't driving as much now. People are going to stop going places. I haven't really heard that this time around.
Oh, it hadn't stopped anybody.
I was going to say, it doesn't seem like we had a couple trips planned for the summer, like not like long ones. Like last year we went to Denver, but we're like, we're probably not going to do that. Let's just save some money and not go to X, Y, or Z.
Right.
Which stinks, but yeah, it doesn't seem like people that's a conversation this year. Whereas I remember in 2008, people were like, we're just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then eventually the prices did drop.
Well, we'll see, but I'm sure it'll trickle down very, 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 very slowly.
Indeed.
Because that's what they do.
Steve says, Lyle wouldn't recognize college football today. Hell, I don't recognize college football today.
Yeah, and that's probably a fair assessment. It is getting harder and harder to recognize. But I mentioned this earlier, and I even went in and did some of my own accounting. But all of this is being done for television. In fact, there's a part of me that wonders if some of this mega conference realignment is just a feud between two networks.
Mm-hmm.
Because the television networks, now television has always been at the heart of why, and I would go back, to when the Big 12 was formed, which was a merger of the Southwest and the Big 8. That was done for television.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't as big then as it is now. I mean, we're not talking the now billions of dollars that we're talking about today. But television has been the driving force behind all of it. But really, for what seems like the first time it almost feels like they're behind it.
Yes.
That, they're
literally in the planning room, John.
There were accusations last year
of ESPN
basically tampering with Texas and Oklahoma and getting them to go to the Southeastern Conference. And today, a lot of the speculation is that Fox was the driving force behind USC and UCLA, the Los Angeles market, moving to the Big Ten. And we're very close to one network controls one conference, the other network controls the other. So how attractive you are as a television property has never been more important than today. Never.
And that's why Oregon's name will continue to get mentioned. And while they do not have the power of a Notre Dame, it's different than it was in 2010 and 2011. And when so much of the conversation was television markets and subscriptions. But what did we say about Nebraska that summer? Because I remember there was some sneering done from our neighbors to the southeast in Missouri. Oh, Nebraska, that's not a large population. But what did Nebraska have? Of course, they had the brand. And so right now, that is what we are discussing, the brand. And Oregon has a brand. Obviously, Notre Dame has the best brand of anybody. And after that, there aren't really a whole lot of schools that we can really say this about. And so what happens to them, sadly, I think it's going to be pretty obvious.
Well, here's the accounting that I did. I wanted to go back and take a look at the last 3 full seasons, so I'm not counting 2020, but the last 3 full seasons of college football and which schools had the most watched games.
Okay.
So I categorized them, and I counted any game that had over 3 million viewers, had over 4 million viewers, had over 5 million viewers, and had over 10 million viewers. And of course,
not going to be a whole lot of the latter. Those are big. Just so people know, a 10 million viewer college football regular season game.
That's Ohio State, Michigan.
That's Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, LSU in its prime. It's few and far between.
Right.
Really, really big, important, rare 1 versus 2 type matchups in college football.
And here is what I came up with. If you're watching along on the video stream, we got the graphic up for you. I tweeted this out earlier today from the @USC1620 account, the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. But this is all games of at least 3 million viewers or more. And the schools that were the highest. Alabama had 24 such games. This is only regular season, by the way. So no SEC championship games, no Big Ten championship games, no bowl games, no playoff games. I just wanted regular season because that's where the drawing power is, right? I mean, the bigger games get bigger viewership anyway.
Yeah.
But the real value to a team is how are you doing week to week?
Yeah.
Alabama had 24 games in those last 3 football seasons, 2018, 2019, and 2021.
Skipping the COVID year.
24 games of 3 million or more viewers.
Wow.
Ohio State, a very close second, 23. Michigan, 21.
So you know what quickly, what does that tell me? That is an average of 8 games for Bama a year. That's an average of almost 8 games a year for Ohio State and an average of 7 for Michigan. Essentially, that is, if they are not playing Tulsa or the equivalent, Georgia Southern, they're worth 3 million viewers a game. If they are not playing true trash non-conference games or probably the lowest of the low, I mean, really, we're talking about probably BTN games and SEC Network games, they are drawing 3 million viewers. You put them on ESPN, you put them on SEC Network or on CBS.
Probably the most important. If they're playing a conference game,
they're getting 3 million.
In fact,
that's crazy.
I don't have. I've got my full graphic. I don't have the graphic, but
Yeah.
I've got the full chart, and it'll spell that out pretty clearly because there's a lot of teams that benefit from playing the Ohio States and the Michigans. Nebraska being one of them. Georgia, Oklahoma, and Penn State each had 19 games of 3 million or more viewers. LSU had 16. Auburn had 15. Notre Dame had 14. Florida had 12. Wisconsin had 12.
Wow.
Texas A&M had 11.
So what is that? That is SEC, it's a bunch of SEC and Big Ten teams, 1 Big 12 team, and Notre Dame. That's what that list is. No Texas? No Clemson.
Now, at the bottom, Nebraska, Michigan State, and Texas each had 10. Clemson and Iowa had 9. That's right, Clemson.
Because they're not, as good as they've been, they're not a big brand like that.
Well, when you're playing a lot of ACC versus ACC games, it doesn't help much. And Oregon had 8. And again, these are just regular season games. Just regular season games.
So Notre Dame almost 5 a year. Florida 4 a year.
But you're wondering, at least for Nebraska, the good news is for Nebraska, they're on the list.
Put them on the list.
They're on the list. Their three most watched games were all against Ohio State.
Makes sense because Ohio State is, the second biggest brand.
Nebraska
on this
had
list.
3 games in those 3 seasons that each eclipsed 5 million or more viewers, and Ohio State was that game every single time. But it shows you why these conferences are being coveted as they are, because you're going to get, quote unquote, more good on good is the thought process.
You're going to get helmet games. That's the way we need to describe it.
They're going to get helmet
it's not
games.
good on
You're
good.
going to recognize the helmet.
Yeah, because look, like the NFL, there's a good team. There are good teams and there are bad teams. You only have 14 teams that make the playoffs. You have teams that go 3-14. Like there's good and there's bad in the NFL, but they're all brands because they're all in the NFL. So of course they're always going to be brands.
No.
College football's different, where historical nature of your program, prestige, like that stuff, it still kind of goes back decades. Oregon, what they have done, Miami, what they did, kind of upending the sport, uprooting the sport rather in the 80s and 90s, Florida and Florida State, like those are few and far between, those types of universities. Like look at the top 5. Bama, they've had success for how long? Ohio State, they've had success for how long? Michigan is one of the most historically great programs ever. Georgia's more recent, and then Oklahoma. 4 of the top 5, you go back literal multiple generations. Your grandfather's, dad knows about Oklahoma football. Like that's where college football is so much, different than really any other sport, because that historical nature of it matters. It matters.
And so that's why these are the teams that are in these conferences that they're all in, and all of these teams right now are protected. For Notre Dame, of course, being that one strange little exception that exists out there as an independent. And a lot of articles have been written over the last few days about Notre Dame and what, who's got the leverage in this case. I still think, strangely, and maybe this is just, my institutionalized way of thinking, I still think Notre Dame's in a really good spot. Because, first of all, they're comfortable with who they are. Very comfortable with who they are. They've been fine for a while not making the same amount of television revenue as everybody else.
They literally leave millions on the table every year, and they have been okay with it.
And they've been perfectly fine
They
with
make, from reports, they make about $15 million a year from NBC. And think about, like, right now, John, we're discussing the gap between the Big Ten, the SEC, and, like, the Pac-12. And the Pac-12 is making, like, $30 million a year, and the Big Ten's making, upwards of 50 and 60, and it's going to be north of 100 at some point. So that's what those – meanwhile, Notre Dame is way, way, way below that number. But they are, or at least they have been, okay with it.
The other reason I think they're in good shape is right now they've been the most coveted free agent, but now that there's actual, more serious movement happening, I'd love to know how many phone calls they've been taking here recently.
Right.
From people just saying, hey, feeling them out just a little bit. And here's the thing. Some might say, well, sure, both conferences would take them, obviously.
And so would the ACC.
Not sure if the SEC is as motivated to take them as the Big Ten is. But if you're looking at it from terms of the playoff, hey, if Notre Dame doesn't end up in a conference, are they going to get locked out of the playoff? Well, the SEC knows the Big Ten has been lusting after Notre Dame for decades and decades. That is the white whale. That is the holy grail for the Big Ten Conference, is to get Notre Dame. If the SEC says, hey, man, whatever playoff, form we take, we'll make sure you're included, and plays friendly, with Notre Dame,
There's no reason for them to
then
join.
there's no reason for them to join. There's no reason for them to join. The SEC can easily sit back because I think the Big Ten needs Notre Dame more than the SEC needs Notre Dame. That's my opinion. I think the SEC is very comfortable with its brand right now and what it has and the quality of its play and the fact that all the athletes are down there and the fact that their teams have kicked the crap out of Notre Dame a couple of times in the playoff. The Big Ten needs Notre Dame more than the SEC.
Well, real
does.
quick, let me ask you this: do they need them more, or do they just want them more? Because
Well,
I would
I think
argue neither
they
conference needs them.
I think they they definitely want them more.
Yeah, definitely want them more. I just don't know if either of them needs them. I really don't. Like if they are okay with the SEC or with Notre Dame kind of playing in the same sandbox, but still as an independent, neither of them need them. But you hit on the most important point. If the SEC and the Big Ten came together and said you have to join our conferences or you will not be able to compete in the playoff, then the pressure, then Notre Dame doesn't have the leverage anymore.
Right.
Unless they truly would say, like Pat Forty last week wrote, that he thinks Notre Dame could just be like, fine, we'll go play with, and he mentioned essentially all of like the academic schools, not Northwestern, but Stanford, those types of schools, Duke, if they would be okay with doing that, and he thinks they would. Personally, I don't think they would be because they're too historically of a great program. That's the only way, though, that they get them to join one of the leagues. Because if the Big Ten wants it, but the SEC is like, nah, you're good. You can do whatever you want still.
Yeah.
Then the Big Ten doesn't have the leverage.
Right.
But if both conferences came together and they said you have to join one of our leagues, then yeah, that would put, because I think they want to participate in the college football playoff. I think they want to be able to play for championships. So that's how you get them. But as Pete Thamel wrote earlier, the SEC is unlikely to bless any move that prevents Notre Dame from having access to the playoff, as it would push the Irish to the Big Ten. The SEC wouldn't want to strengthen its rival league like that.
Exactly.
There's no need to. The only need that they would have to do in that scenario is if the SEC and Big Ten are actually going to form a partnership, and they know that it would be better to have Notre Dame in it than it would not be. But that would mean, I'm talking about like an actual merger, the AFL, NFL, AL, NL. I'm talking about, a true NBA and an ABA. I'm talking about a true merger where both leagues are not just under the same roof, but they are, they're sharing bedrooms.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily foresee that happening at this point. I think if we're going to get anything, it will be a lot closer to the AFL versus the NFL, where they may agree to host a championship game against each other, but that the conferences are going to basically rule the way they want to, and they're going to and listen, if we get to the point where the scholarship limitations are off, that's when things get real interesting. Because if there's not an NCAA around to say, 85 scholarships,
Mm-hmm.
and it's up to the leagues to do their own thing, that the SEC is going to bump that number up. Well, then the Big Ten would have to feel that they have to follow suit. And then you get into a bidding war of sorts. That's where things could get real interesting. I think the one thing that would bring the two leagues together in a quasi merger is if they needed to, similar to the AFL and NFL. The reason the AFL and NFL had to merge was because they were killing each other bidding on players.
Yeah.
They were, and the owners were like, oh man, this is costing way too much money. And, some of us are going to be out of business. If the cost of doing business became so unwieldy that the two sides would have to collude to say, okay, we got to keep the costs down. And the only way to do that is if we come together and with some common purpose. But if that doesn't happen, who knows? Who knows where it goes?
I forget. The AFL and the NFL, when they had not merged, were they playing in the regular season or was it just the Super Bowl? So it's like the AL and the NL for the longest time.
Yeah. Yeah. When they announced the merger in 1966.
Or the 70 season, right?
Yeah. The actual merger took place in 1970, where it actually all came together under one umbrella, the NFL. But yeah, the first 4 Super Bowls were the only time the AFL played the NFL. Mm-hmm. That was it. And then there may have been some preseason games. I don't even think preseason games started until 1970. Oh.
Riley says, as far as the Big Ten needs Notre Dame more than they need the Big Ten, he says, that's not true. If the SEC and Big Ten start poaching ACC teams, then Notre Dame would need a conference for all of their non-football sports. There's no way the Notre Dame administration will vote to join the SEC from an academic standpoint. Then the Big Ten could say Notre Dame can't join in other sports unless they join in football too. They're basically saying if the ACC falls apart before their grant of rights deal is up in a decade and a half.
And who knows if that's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
I
see what Riley is saying. It's an interesting point.
The only way that happens is if the SEC goes in and starts poaching ACC schools.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about all of this. SEC is not saying a word right now.
They've been very, very quiet.
They have been very quiet, and I'm not sure how to interpret that. I'm not sure to interpret that as, they're plotting their next move, or they're just sitting back and saying, this doesn't bother us. I don't know what they're thinking right now. They hold a lot of cards. I mean, there's two leagues that hold all the cards right now.
Ravi and I, we talked about it a little bit on Friday, but how, and look, this is not to retroactively view Nebraska's move as something less than it was, but how just small that move now seems compared to the last 2 years of Oklahoma and Texas and the reverberations of that, and then USC and UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
The reverberations of those two moves, again, they make Nebraska's move that it just looks small by comparison. As I said on Thursday, for a long time, realignment that we had been promised was like the coast-to-coast stuff. This is finally that. And that's what makes this one so different, is that it does seem like a real big shot across the bow. And maybe it is done. And, all reports right now are basically like, they don't want Oregon and Washington just yet. They want to see what's going to happen with Notre Dame. I had somebody reach out to me earlier because, the Big 12, apparently there's a lot of talks about them adding 6 of these teams from the Pac-12, and Oregon and Washington are on that list. And I keep wondering to myself, and I say this to everybody I talk to, is it's a staring contest. Oregon and Washington, I think, are in a staring contest of, do you accept a deal like that? If it's true, let's pretend it is. Do you accept that deal? And then, move on to the Big 12? Or do you just keep staring and waiting for the Big 10? And I don't know what's a safer move? What's a smarter move? I don't know what the answer is. I think that the Big 10 should want them. I think the Big 10 should want, if you're going to keep expanding, I think you should want more schools on the West Coast. I think that is good for business, and it's good for travel partners. I think that is important. Stanford, trying to get Stanford, I think would be a great addition for reasons that go obviously beyond college football. But again, university presidents are the ones that are involved in this.
Yeah.
Having Stanford would be a monumental gift for the league. So I think it would be good if you're going to keep expanding. I think it'd be good for the league itself. But do they view it that way, or do they view Oregon and Washington as, it's Oregon and Washington?
Well, we're at the point.
What is Kansas?
I mean, we're at the point where both conferences now are at 16. And honestly, I don't see. I don't know if it's a game where, okay, we made our move, now it's your turn. Obviously, if the Big Ten wants to take another turn, they could right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe they're waiting on Notre Dame. And I don't know if there's value right now in adding Oregon and Washington.
Because you got to see what you're going to get with Notre Dame.
I don't think there's value right now in adding them, because you've added the market you really wanted. You've added Los Angeles. You've probably done so at the behest of your network partner, who's going to pay you a lot of money. You have your national conference, if you will. I don't know.
Again, you don't need them.
You don't need them right now.
It'd be cool to have them, I think, eventually. You don't need them, though. At this moment in time, you can move forward with your 16-team league.
Which is what I think they're going to do. And so if you're Oregon and Washington right now, you're almost in a spot where you have to take the next lifeline, whatever it is.
Yeah, how many of our listeners right now have been in a point when they think a job offer is coming, and you're just waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're just hoping. You're like, I think I have a good feel for this. I think I'm going to get it. And look, I don't know how Oregon and Washington feel right now if they think they're going to get anything. But it kind of reminds me of being in that spot where you're like, oh, I really hope that job offer's coming. I'm going to maybe hold out hope just a little bit longer. Brad says, it's an excellent point you just brought up. The SEC not jumping all over itself in the media and within a matter of days throwing together that stupid alliance deal like the Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12 did. Probably the SEC is very comfortable with this. I think you're right, man.
I think they're very comfortable with it.
And they should be. Why wouldn't they be? They are in an awesome position right now. They are adding one of the best programs of our lifetimes in Oklahoma. They're adding one of the biggest brands in college football in Texas. They're moving to 16 teams. They have however many last national championships. I think they've won all but 3 or 4 since 2006. And they play in almost all of them. You know, they are the bee's knees. They are the conference. Big Ten, they can make all the money in the world, but the SEC still owns them on the football field.
Exactly. And that's the thing at the end of the day, and which is why all this money talk is great. And I get it. Money makes the world go round. But at the end of the day, you compete to win championships. I'm curious, in your Cowboy closet, how many Dallas Cowboy NFL revenue championship shirts do you own?
I don't own any of those. Maybe I should, because we're champions at that. At least we're number one in something.
So when we get into this subject of, well, we're making $100 million, or well, we're making 120, or we're making 130. At the end of the day, you print the T-shirts and the hats for the trophies that you win, the games that you win, not the revenue championships that you win. And that's the one thing that the SEC has. The Big Ten could add any team it wants to that's not currently a member of the SEC right now, and it still does not match the profile of the SEC in the games that matter. They could add Clemson right now, and Florida State, and Miami,
and Notre
Dame right now. And when it comes to championships of the last generation, the SEC still has the T-shirts and the hats printed. Big Ten can print all their B1G revenue champions 2022.
Maybe we should make these shirts.
There's an idea for all you T-shirt makers out there.
Triple B.
But eventually, you end up playing the games on the field. And that's where the bragging rights come from. And the SEC has got bragging rights.
How about this text from Ryan in the 531? He says, great conversation, guys. Thanks, and I'll be back tomorrow. You gained another listener. Josh, you can say, I did that because you did.
I did that.
I did that.
Wait. No, I did that.
I did that. Well, he said, Josh, you can say it. So I think Ryan likes me more than he likes you. That's pretty cool, though. Thank you, Ryan, for tuning in. We appreciate it, man.
Well, Ryan, if you had
did that.
If you had any guts, you'd call.
We need to have, nice. Our bosses love taking pictures of us like every 2 months. Next time, should we do that? I did that. We can make a little I did that stickers.
By the way, speaking of that, what are we going to do with Shane's old picture out in the hallway?
Do we light a fire in a trash can and toss it in there?
Wow.
I just am asking. I don't know. What if we put it on
Figures the murder cult guy wants to burn the body.
Just burn a picture. What if we did that, like in Star Wars, when somebody dies, they do burn the body. We could set a pyre up, put every picture of Shane on there. I will remember you. You remember me.
All right, we'll be back with more. We've got some unsportsmanlike content. Dan's going to get it.
Dan!
He's going to be able to do unsportsmanlike content today. This will be fun.
Baby!
We'll see if he has as many problems pronouncing names as Nick
Dan,
does.
you are a sports fan, right?
I am.
Okay.
And I've had this discussion with Nick before, and he's like, this is the one segment that he always
struggles because he doesn't know names. But he's here all week. Let's see what kind of names we can put together for future editions.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that today. Let's see. No, it doesn't look like any really difficult ones.
By the way, when we return, we need a frost flash as well, the second one of the day.
Ooh, a frost flash. We'll have that next after this word from my friends at Brookside Medical Clinic. You know what, guys? If you're having problems with and you're tired of taking the little blue pill, which is fine. I mean, the little blue pill, it works. It really does. But side effects, there's always going to be side effects. And you have to wait until the pill kicks in. Well, if you get your ED issues fixed with the non-surgical methodology at Brookside Medical Clinic, the advanced wave technology, you wouldn't need the pill anymore. Then you'd be able to act whenever it was time. And right now, if you call 402-671-7777, we'll get you a blood flow ultrasound and first examination free on the house. With a little consultation with Brookside, you could be back to your normal functioning self again and no more little blue pill. And if you call today, 402-671-7777, they'll make sure they add a special gift that is sure to help in the bedroom as well. Call my friends at Brookside today. Drop the pill. Get back to your normal self with Brookside Medical Clinic. 402-671-7777.
Zone, taste of our takes. Sharp and Benning in the morning.
So the rhythm of the game was not very good.
What are you, Janet Jackson or somebody?
It's the rhythm of the night.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to go into full.
No. You should have just stayed with
asked
Janet.
Before I said.
Just be a part of the Rhythm Nation.
I thought rhythm was a dancer.
Oh my gosh.
Now, see ya.
For more, tune in every day to 1620 a.m. or go to 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny and hot into the evening with the heat advisory and the temperatures in the 90s. Then a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Some gusty winds possible. Low temperatures in the low 70s. Not quite as hot on Wednesday, but still a high near 90. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. Currently no major wrecks to avoid. We are getting reports of slow going on L Street for both directions around 90th. If you're west on 370, delays just before I-80. And then if you're north on the JFK, expect delays between Childs and Chandler. If you're south on the JFK, expect delays between Q Street and Childs. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Burton AC Plumbing, Heating, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Right now, we'll open your drain line for only $93 or it's free. Call for details or request service at justcallburton.com.
Damon Benning here for Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey. Celebrate this baseball season with Screwball. A little sweet, a little salty, a little savory. It's unlike anything you've tasted before. It's the perfect celebration of the wild and wonderful in all of us. So to all you Screwballs out there, in honor of tomorrow's stories, let's raise a glass to you. Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey, available near you. Enjoy responsibly. Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
1620 The Zone. Live and local, broadcasting 6A to 6P in the Host Coffee Zone studio. Host Coffee, offering office break room refreshment services to Omaha and Lincoln metro area businesses. Discover a better break room solution for your office at sales@hostcoffee.net.
Here are your 3 Sour Patch Kids slush floats. Enjoy your Sonic.
Ice cream. Boom. Sour Patch Kids bits. Boom. A slush.
Take a bite, and then we'll all harmonize.
It's sour than sweet, now in a cold treat. Introducing the Sonic Sour Patch Kids Slush Float with 100% real ice cream, Sour Patch Kids watermelon flavor slush, and even more Sour Patch Kids on top, all for only $2.99 for a limited time at Sonic. Sour Patch Kids is a trademark of Mondelez International Group used under license. Mobile ordering available at select locations. Hours may vary. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
And I didn't see any pelvic thrusts. I don't see any pelvic thrusts either. I don't see anything sexual in nature.
On 1620 The Zone.
Frost Flash. This is an Unsportsmanlike Conduct Frost Flash update. Frost Flash from the Frost Flash Sports Desk.
What, another one?
Another one.
What happened this time?
Was that a reference to DJ Khaled? Nice job by you, John.
Who?
DJ Khaled.
Who?
He says another one.
What are you talking about?
It's a meme. He says another one.
Oh.
Another one.
Another what?
Commit! You know about commits. Recruits.
Sure.
They commit?
Well, Marion Miller committed earlier today, the receiver from Louisiana.
Well, the second player, his name is...
Not O'Marion Miller?
Dylan Rogers. He's from Cypress, Texas. He's a 3-star linebacker. According to 24/7 Sports Composite, he's the 706th best player in the entire country.
Wow, that's rather specific.
That's their ranking.
Why couldn't we get 705?
Well, I don't know. Shafe's on tomorrow. Yell at Schaefer.
I'm gonna.
There you go.
So
another mitt.
Another commit. Dylan Rogers, 3-star out of Cypress, Texas. Edge defender. Nebraska now up to 26th.
Oh.
In the 24/7 composite.
Hell yeah.
Almost top 25. And we know what happens when Nebraska lands a top 25 class.
Put Scott. What do they do?
They land a top 25.
Oh, they usually lose. Put Scott Frost, put a screenshot of him over the screenshot of the rankings, and I did that.
I did that.
He
did that.
Nice. Oh, black flag emojis coming in from Jordan.
Oh, that's right.
The black flag emojis.
I forgot about the black flag emoji. Where did that come from?
The recruits from the Calabrasca. It's a movement. I think I still have a black flag in my desk.
I know, but
I don't know. Kids, John, they're kids. They're youths. I don't know.
So
they just started doing
that. They were using the
emoji.
The emoji.
When they would commit to Nebraska, they would tweet out the emoji
of black flag.
Yes. Why? Again, they're youths. I don't know. I don't pay attention to what the kids are into these days.
Well, there you go. Fly your black flag today for 2 more mitts.
2
more commits to the Nebraska football program.
What a time to be alive.
Oh, there were a couple of things I wanted to get to today. We're not going to have time.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
But one of the things I do want to do tomorrow, we have the lines for week 1 in the National Football League. We're going to make our picks for week 1.
Oh, are we?
10 weeks out.
Oh, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, so we'll do that tomorrow.
We'll do that. I did that.
We'll also find out.
I'm gonna run it into
We'll
the
also
ground.
find out why Dick Dull saw all of this coming.
Oh.
Yeah, Dick Dull saw all of this coming, this college football nonsensory.
Dick saw that.
Dick Dull. Dick Dull didn't do that, but Dick Dull saw it.
Ken writes in on our YouTube page. He says, I live in the Pensacola area. In my experience, there is no SEC bragging rights feelings around here. Florida, Auburn, and Georgia fans want anyone, and I mean anyone, to win other than Alabama. Well, Ken, they should be very happy then because Georgia just won the Natty.
Yeah,
this year it'll probably be Alabama.
You might want to tell the other thousands upon thousands of people who are constantly chanting SEC.
SEC. That said, I do wonder if you could poll every SEC fan. Would you rather have your biggest rival? Would you rather have any of your conference mates win, or would you rather have Ohio State? Who they would vote for? My guess is that they would rather their league win, even if it means Alabama's winning, or even if it means their biggest rival. Maybe not their biggest.
I would agree.
Auburn fans don't want Bama to keep winning natties. That's not good for them. But I think they're okay if Florida does it. I think maybe they're not okay. See, I think that's the best way to describe it. They don't root for it, but that it happens. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We can use this as fuel for the fire.
Yeah. No, there's a regionality that exists there that does not exist in many other places.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about before. It goes back to the Civil War. I mean,
It
that
really does.
that type of that us versus them. That is it exists down there. Better and for worse, but it exists down there. And I'm not going to root for my conference mates I don't care. But is that the reason why the Big Ten has fallen behind? No, but it's definitely interesting. Definitely interesting.
Coming up next, we are going to get into some unsportsmanlike content.
Dan!
Including Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
Tiger Woods.
Oh.
And Shake Shack.
Oh.
All make an appearance.
Oh, the GOAT.
Oh, you're not going to like this.
Yeah, of course I'm not, because you've probably found some stupid story. I don't even know what this is.
Well, it was a stupid story.
Yeah, I bet it is. Oh, we didn't do 100 Days to College Football today.
The challenge with the 100 Days of College Football is to do things that aren't related to
the story.
Mega conferences.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Dave Ennett can be our 100 Days.
100 days?
Yeah.
Perfect. Maybe we should start playing that ahead of all the various people we have on. And they're like, what the hell is this? It's not 100 days anymore. Oopsies.
Coming up, 1620 The Zone.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Okay, team, it's summer. Your training all comes down to this. Checklist. Emma, sunscreen? Check. Alex, shades? Yep, set. Baby Zoe, diaper bag? We're just gonna call that a yes. Are you ready for Funplex? Check. Well, out to the minivan. But we can't drive. Let's find Mom. And then go to the minivan. Yay!
It's all for fun and fun for all at Funplex, 70th and Q, dude. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Say you use your debit card for a $4 latte, but there wasn't enough in your account and you were charged a $33 overdraft fee. Now that latte costs you $37. Ouch! If you're short on cash or make a simple mistake, Metro Credit Union lets you use up to $50 of our money to cover small transactions for free. Plus, we don't charge NSF return fees. Set up a checking account today at metrofcu.org. Metro Credit Union, your local advantage. Federally insured by the NCUA.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
Leach Camper Sales in Council Bluffs is celebrating a special anniversary this year with a summer open house this Saturday. Right, Ed?
You bet we are. 60 years in the RV business and number one again in the Omaha Choice Awards. So it's time for a summer open house celebration with cold pop, clowns for the kids, prizes, all day long, discounts on all parts, and most important, sale prices on both new and pre-enjoyed RVs. We are stocked with the best brands of travel trailers, fifth wheels, like Open Range, Montana, Coachman, Rockwood, all the best brands.
That's right, Chief. Plus, hot dogs from Stoice's House of Sausage and everything in the parts department will be 10% off all day.
Everyone's invited. Just take the South Expressway, exit off I-80, go south 1/2 mile, west 1/2 mile. There we are.
Leach Camper Sales, home of the extremely happy camper.
And don't forget, that coffee's always on.
Heading to a cookout with family or friends, heading home from a ball game, or heading no place in particular on a random weekday, all seems like great reasons to head over to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Hey, it's Damon Benning from Sharp and Benning in the Morning. Ice cream on a hot summer day or night is awesome. And ice cream from Ted and Wally's is even awesomer. Yes, it's a word. You know me, I make them up, but not this time. Cones, cups, pints, quarts, even half gallons to go. Head to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Celebrating more than 35 years, 2 locations, Benson and the Old Market. Visit tedandwallys.com.
Before you know it, Husker football season is going to be here, and you want to be in Memorial Stadium or following the Big Red on the road. And while you look for tickets, look no further than ticketsforless.com, formerly Ticket Express. They are your home for the best selection of Husker tickets inside of Memorial Stadium. And the best part, you'll never pay those outrageous fees like you do at other sites. Just compare. And you want to follow the Big Red on the road? Tickets for Less has you covered there, too. Find the best seats at the best prices to all your favorite Nebraska events, all in one convenient location. Ticketsforless.com. That's ticketsforless.com. Get in the stadium.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Look, I made you some
Unsportsmanlike
content.
Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike.
All right, with Nick out this week, we checked on Nick. How's he doing? Is he all right? Is he going to make it?
Last I heard, he was okay. His throat, what did he say?
He was bragging about eating ice cream for breakfast, so he's not in that bad a shape.
That's true. That's true. But I think he's doing okay. Well, how are you doing?
Well, this constant little scratch.
I know,
in the back
man.
of
I've
my
had
throat.
it too. And
It's
we
your
both
fault.
tested negative. We're good to go. I did that.
I guess.
I did that. But yeah, Nick's out with the vid. He'll be back though. He'll be back.
That means Dan gets to fill in this week. And it's always exciting when we get a new producer to read the unsportsmanlike content material.
Oh boy.
Because you never know. I mean, we could get We could get a Chance. Chance is pretty good at it.
Mhm.
He knows all the names.
Remember Ben?
Oh, Ben.
He was rough.
Ben was rough.
And sometimes Nick is rough too. The words get a little hard for him. Hank Aaron. So we'll see how Dan does today. Dan, take it away.
Good luck.
What did you two think of Major League Baseball's Independence Day hats?
Not too
That was a very Chance-like reading.
Yeah.
I almost thought for a second it was Chance. Just that there's a certain timbre in his voice. It was like, man, it almost sounded like Chance. I didn't hate them. I wasn't in love with them. I know some of the uniform, snobs on the interwebs didn't like them. Best example of how sometimes we get caught in our own little bubble. So I'm watching the Cubs yesterday against the Brewers, and they were wearing the hats.
Sure.
And Sam, who is not a baseball fan, comes downstairs and saw the Cubs version of the hat and said, "Oh, that's pretty cool. They make them for the kids."
They do make it for the kids.
So from that standpoint, I thought, Major League if you can get someone who doesn't care for baseball to look at that and say, "Oh, that's pretty cool," they might have had a winner on their hands.
Well, I thought they looked stupid. I wasn't a fan. Not stupid. I just didn't like the look. Though the weirdest part, of course, is Toronto wearing them. That is the thing I just don't understand at all.
I thought they made theirs red for Canada Day.
Didn't they have the American flag on it?
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, they're playing our sport. You follow our rules.
Yeah, look, it has the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, you follow our rules,
But
Canada.
John, they're in Canada. It's not America. It's Canada. People do not forget.
I guess not.
Yeah, I give them a thumbs down. I wouldn't buy them, but look, I don't buy baseball hats anymore because they're like $50.
Oh yeah,
they're way too expensive. I did that.
Expensive. Yeah. And there was an ad for hats on there.
Nice.
On the TV as we were watching it.
Kevin Durant wants out of Brooklyn. Where's he going to end up?
I honestly think he might just stay in Brooklyn, at least to start the season. I'm kind of that mindset right now. Phoenix and Miami are the teams that have gotten the most traction. Everyone wants to figure out a way to get him to LA somehow. But I think that I'm going to say he'll start the next season this fall in Brooklyn. Might not finish there, but he'll start there at least.
Crazy how, these mega stars want to leave, have the ability to leave, but no one can swing a trade for them or swing a deal for them. And why does everyone all of a sudden want out of Brooklyn? I thought Brooklyn was the place to be. The place to be.
Because right now, it's kind of poorly run. It's just a disaster zone. Plus, these players, they want to leave all the time. Very sad. Back in my day, John, if you signed a contract, you stayed there.
Exactly. How many different NBA franchises did Larry Bird play for?
Just one.
One
franchise.
How many franchises did Magic Johnson play for?
Just one.
One.
Yeah. Now, he did keep retiring and unretiring. Make up your mind, Magic.
So did Mike. Remember CTE? That thing that was going to end football? Well, research into late Broncos receiver Demaryius Thomas's brain showed that he had the degenerative brain ailment caused by head trauma. Will this invigorate the CTE movement?
I don't think so. Remember, and this was all the buzz. This was what occupied our time in the summer, was all this talk about CTE. Now, they still don't believe that his seizures, which was believed to have been the cause of death. I don't think they even have an official cause of death yet for Demaryius Thomas. They have not linked seizures to CTE, but the fact that, he did have some different behavioral things late in life and CTE, you would think it would serve as a reminder. But after the summer we had, what was it, 3-4 years ago, where that was all the rage was, man, what are we going to do? We're going to have to change this rule, change that rule. And then all of a sudden it just disappeared, as if the concern wasn't there anymore. And it's puzzling to me.
I'm not really puzzled by it. One of the things that you and I said when we would discuss it a lot was it will take like one of the huge, major, notable superstars of a more recent era. And if something happens with them, I think that would be a true game changer. The other thing, though, is like the NFL has done, I think, as much as they kind of can to make the game safe. But You said something I think that was a pretty astute observation years ago. Like NASCAR will always have a danger of you could die today.
Yep.
Football will always, as long as it's played with helmets and shoulder pads, there will always be a danger of head trauma, knee trauma, ankle, whatever it is. Like that stuff can't go away inside of playing a football game. And so if we all understand that, which I think we do, there's only so much that you can do before you make football not football. So I think we've all just kind of accepted like this is what the sport is, for better and for worse. And there's really not a whole lot more we can do about it beyond, again, removing a lot of the aspects that we like about football or going to robots, which nobody wants.
No.
Tiger Woods, y'all, said his decision to skip the U.S. Open was in part to give him a shot at playing the British Open. Is Tiger turning his back on America?
No. We said after he struggled in the PGA, after he had to drop out in the PGA, and we said this after the Masters too, he came back way too soon. He needed to take some time off. So what's the question? Does he hate America? No.
I didn't say he hated America. Well, he didn't say he hated
Dan
America.
didn't say it, but honestly, he's being smart.
He
shouldn't have.
He turned his back on our national championship.
He shouldn't have played it all this year. That's my opinion. I think he should have taken the whole year off.
In all reality, though, he really was hoping to play in the Open this year because it is the 150th Open.
Back at St. Andrews.
And it's at St. Andrews, which has been his favorite course over there. So I understand it. Now, is he actually going to play, though? Is he trying?
I thought he wasn't playing, and because that's next week.
Yeah.
Dan?
He is going to try to actually play in the British Open. He just got done playing a tune-up round in a Pro-Am, I think, today. Tied for 38th?
Yeah, it finished 2 over a 74. Interesting. We'll see, man. He always, in both of the 2 majors he's played in this year, he came out pretty good. He looked good. It was obvious that he was struggling. His body was struggling, but he looked pretty good. And then, man, the longer the tournament went on, the more it affected him. So
yeah.
I hope that he's able to last the entire tournament if he's playing this year.
Imprisoned WNBA star Brittany Griner wrote a letter to President B asking him, please don't forget about me and the other detainees in Russia. She has been there since February. Do you think she'll ever be released?
Probably not anytime soon. The Russians still want, eventually they want a prison swap. And the story was that one of the worst people on what was the Angel of Death or something was his nickname. He was a spy who, murdered a lot of Americans. He's been imprisoned in the United States. Unfortunately, it may take a prison swap to get her out because this trial that they're doing with her it's all a sham. They're gonna it's all for show. They're gonna try to put her away for a long time. It's sick, but unfortunately, this is the risk you run when you travel overseas and when you go to basically third world dictatorships like Russia.
Yeah, ever is a long time.
It is. I mean, eventually, yes, but it's
anytime soon.
No.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty crazy. This story first came into our consciousness in March, February, or March?
It was March. It was early March.
So think about that. I mean, already almost 4 months have gone by since the story first came out. It doesn't feel like we're any closer today. Not to mention that she had already been in prison for a couple months before we even found out about it the first time. So definitely at some point in time. When? I wish I could tell you.
Real quick one for you. Just had a listener call in. Tiger Woods actually is more likely to play the British Open, according to him, due to the fact that most of the courses over on that side of the pond are links courses. So they're a tad bit shorter and a little bit easier to play for someone who's not going to.
That would be true. The only difference would be if there's like a really stiff breeze and it's knocking them over all the time. But yeah, no, that is true. I mean, it's probably an easier walk than it is, the undulating hills of
like
Augusta or, most of the American courses.
True that. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Dan.
A guy named Michael Wardian recently ran across the entire United States. It's a journey that spans 3,234 miles across 13 states with more than 132,000 feet in elevation change. He said he took inspiration from Forrest Gump. Will you be taking a couple months off from the zone in the near future to do the same?
I definitely will not be. That sounds miserable. I like running. I don't want to run that far. Some people ask me, like, are you ever going to do like ultra marathons? And technically an ultra is anything above a normal marathon. So you could do like 26.3. I don't think I'm going to do any of that stuff either. That's for the real crazies. I'm pretty crazy, but that stuff's nuts. John, are you going to do it?
Yeah, right.
Would you ever walk across the United States?
Nope.
Right, good call.
Nope. I'm good.
Mickey Mouse could soon enter the public domain. That said, according to one longtime entertainment lawyer, you can use the Mickey Mouse character as it was originally created to create your own Mickey Mouse stories or stories with this character. But if you do so in a way that people will think of Disney, which is kind of likely because they've been investing in this character for so long, then in theory, Disney could say you violated my copyright. So nothing's really going to change then, eh?
This story makes no sense. That was a word salad.
It was a word salad.
And now, first of all, Disney hardly does anything with Mickey Mouse anymore. But Mickey Mouse, because it was the backbone of what the company was founded on, it's kind of ubiquitous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to take one away from the other. Why is anyone going to do anything with Mickey Mouse? Is there still merit in doing?
Well, did you
something
see
with Mickey
the
Mouse?
thing that they're doing with Winnie the Pooh? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
in this
okay. So
segment.
that's because Winnie the Pooh is
in the public domain.
Correct. So you can make him a mass murderer if you would like, which is what the movie is. Isn't that you? So I guess you think of all the unsavory things that people could do with Mickey, John. Close your eyes and imagine the weirdness.
Now, here's my question. What's the difference between this and what South Park does with Mickey Mouse?
Well, that is what would that fall under? That would fall under like what on
It's satire.
Yeah, like what's the they do it on SNL where they're able to use like the
Yeah.
CNN logos, parody law, right?
Yeah.
I think that's probably how South Park can get away. But you could make a full movie where it's the actual branding of like Mickey Mouse, does Dallas. You could do all sorts of unsavory.
How would Mickey Mouse want to do Dallas?
I don't know. Why not, John? Don't get any coffee down there, Mickey. Don't do it.
That's a tease for tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Uh-oh, Josh. Your favorite Burger King Shake Shack has a problem. Their bun supplier is run by a man named Jim Martin, a wealthy supporter of right-wing causes, and the man behind the successful campaign of Pennsylvania gubernatorial candidate Doug Manisantro, who buys into crazy conspiracy known to the far right. Time to ditch the tiny burgers?
Now, look, not tiny, very normal sized
Oh,
burgers.
they are so small.
Great burgers, very tasty.
They're tasty. They're tasty. It's just like if I want a slider, I would have ordered a slider.
There are no Shake Shacks in Omaha, so I don't have to ditch them.
Thank goodness. Then
For
we would
now.
have get exposed to these wild and crazy right-wing conspiracies.
Oh man, tough look for Shake Shack though. Bun supplier. Wow, stick to look at Dan coming in hot with the conspiracies.
Yeah,
never see this with Nick.
Apparently, this candidate arranged bus transportation to the January 6th event.
Oh, Mastriano did?
He's attended numerous events organized by QAnon theorists.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah. And his main
Not
money,
my type
and
of
his
friend.
main money guy is the guy providing the buns to
Hey,
your tiny burgers.
No, I haven't had Shake Shack since return from Mexico, so like 3 months ago. But before that, it had been a while. Man, I love Shake Shack. Their burgers are so good.
They're okay. They're
Their
not
burgers are so good. Their chicken sandwiches are so good.
they're like the size of gummy bears.
Steve says you guys probably have air conditioner throat from going in and out during the College World Series. The constant temperature changes will get you. Is this true? Is this a thing?
That's an interesting theory. It could be. I don't know.
Oh.
I had the wicked sore throat last week, man.
I've just had like an annoying cough that's been with me for over a week now.
And listen, as someone who has been going in and out of air-conditioned rooms into the heat for a lot longer than Josh has, this is the first time this has happened.
I haven't had a summer cold in a while. Man, it sucks. It's just so annoying. Yeah. But the annoying part about this one is it's not bad enough to like I'm not going to take any days off. I'm fine. But it's just like it's a nuisance. It's just bothering me. Like I wish it would go away. Oh well, I'll be okay.
Coming up next, it's the bet of the day. Does Dan get to participate in the bet
Dan
of the day?
absolutely gets to participate in the bet of the day.
Here
Dan,
we
you get to
go
go to the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620 and find a pick for tonight.
Pretty sure I'm on a little hot streak here with the old tennis.
You did win last time. Fickle People Brian says, did I hear Josh called it Shake Shack sandwich pasty? No, tasty, Brian. Tasty.
I don't know if they're pasty. They're very small, though.
No, they're not. They're
They're
normal
very
size.
small.
They're normal size, many is saying.
Pay a lot for that little sandwich. Means I'm going to have to win some more bets of the day to go afford one. On 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everyone. Josh Peterson here for...
Turn this on mic off.
Shut up,
This
John.
is a perfect segue
Shut
to the
up,
whole
John.
show.
Hey, everyone. Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. Had an absolute blast yesterday at the golf course for their annual Independence Day Scramble. As always, put on a great time. Our Scramble coming to Miracle Hill next month. Middle of next month, we will be announcing the date very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. Sign-ups will be available at their website, miraclehillgolf.com. And of course, given that I was out on the golf course, I was taking a lot of the lessons that I'd recently gotten from their director of instruction, Mike Favre, and I applied them to the round. Had some of the best putting that I've ever had in one of these scrambles, played with my usual group of best friends. And in particular, at the last lesson he made just a slight, tiny change. You know, sometimes you're out there on the golf course and one of your friends will be like, hey, your left wrist is doing this. And you're like, okay. And you try to apply what your friend says and nothing ever changes. Well, Mike had a specific instruction about my left foot, how I was standing, changed that for the scramble, completely changed how I was hitting the golf ball. You want to make little changes, big changes, whatever it is, give them a call today at 402-498-0220. Book a lesson and get better at golf. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Dan Thompson of Thompson & Thompson, third generation roofing, siding, gutters, and more, where they're celebrating 25 years of business.
Thank you, Omaha, and all the communities around for putting your trust in us for 25 years. Integrity is what our customers like about us, and they know they can trust us to protect their home and make it look great. Call Thompson & Thompson third generation today and become one of the thousands of customers who are glad they did. Or click thompsonthird.com.
Email Sharp and Benning on Equitable Bank inbox with your love, your hate, whatever your hot takes are. We're here for you. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is just, well, pretty awesome, actually. And it doesn't matter if you prefer the college dink or the big league crack of the bat. There's nothing better than watching a game with a cold, frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings with Oscar's Thai chili bourbon wing sauce. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Your exclusive home for Royals baseball in Omaha.
Right up the middle, base hit, and the Royals are winner.
1620 The Zone. This is unsportsmanlike conduct. The 1620 The Zone.
And you know why I'm laughing, don't you? Now, it's time for the unsportsmanlike conduct bet of the day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
All right, on Friday, I had a Mets and Tigers parlay. I was let down. Nick had George Russell plus 1,600. He didn't finish. Was he the guy who got in the really bad crash? Who was the guy who got in the really? You saw
in
this,
the
right?
F1 race?
Yeah. He wasn't that guy, was he?
I don't remember who got in a crash.
So he didn't finish. So I'm guessing he got in a crash, but maybe not the crash. Anyway, I forgot to look up what happened with Ravi. I'm going to go with the Yankees tonight. Yankees minus a 1.5. It pays minus 122. They're going against the Pirates in a rematch of the 1964 World Series.
Right? Which one?
Stan Musial.
What did you say again?
64.
Who played? Who's playing?
Yankees and Pirates.
That's 1960.
Oh!
64 was Yankees Cardinals.
Not Stan Musial, right?
And Stan Musial had retired by 64.
Who hit the home run?
That was I keep wanting to say Bobby Thompson. Oh my God!
Screw
it's
it, we're up
killing me.
against it.
Give me. I'm going for the upset. Ajia Tomljanovic.
Oh, why did you do this to me?
Plus 158 over Elena Rybakina.
You're going to have to give me a spelling.
Rudy Tomljanovic.
Dan?
Plus 128. 158.
Real quick, 2-team parlay. Got the White Sox winning, the Kansas City Royals winning. It's plus 462 tonight.
Let's go, Dan. All right, send me your name so I can type it in. And what does it pay? What does yours pay, John?
158.
All
Plus
right.
158. I'm going for the upset.
That's the bet of the day.
Iowa.
Nice.
All right. So coming up tomorrow. Oh, he's no longer some Georgia Southern guy.
He's now
He has a
Daniel
name.
Reed. Daniel
He has a
Reed.
name. And he'll help us preview Georgia Southern. Mike Schaefer, Mitch Sherman tomorrow. Oh,
Nice.
it's already Dumb Debates Day.
Dumb debates.
That's fantastic.
What a day it's going to be.
It's going to be a great day. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.